Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Dyer's Place. Now running for almost 2 years straight. How about that? Well, as you can tell by the title of the stream, tonight we're going to be discussing our favorite lesser-known NES games. And with me, as you can see, is Mike.
Yo.
You're sounding kind of quiet now, Mike.
Yo, what up?
That's
Sorry,
better.
I
That's
project
better. And returning for yet another round with us is Jay.
Yo. Even though my portrait is Mike, but still, you know.
Well, hey. It's kind of weird, though.
You know what? Shit, that's a good point. That's going to be a little ironic there. Oh well. It can't be helped, I guess.
Who's to say that Nightshade's real name isn't Mike?
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think his actual name is Mark, if I'm not mistaken, but that's not a widely publicized thing. I think that's a thing in the manual or whatever.
It's just an illusion.
I don't
that's
know.
all. Oh boy, so let's see
Yes,
here.
that too.
So who we got out here tonight? Lampshade. It's bad.
It's Nightshade, darn it. Hey, Patty. What's
How
up?
you doing, Batty?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Benny.
Yeah. So here we go. Let's see who else is going to show up in the next few minutes, then we'll kick things off. And how about that local sports team?
Fuck you. Football's over. Baseball's not happening. Sports might as well be dead.
Sure. I mean, it works for me.
There's a thought I always have, actually, that whenever baseball and football isn't going on in late February and throughout March, I always think of the bit in Futurama where Fry takes Leonard Nimoy's head with him, and then Jonathan Frakes appears behind him and says, "Yes, front row."
And Snarp's there.
That's basketball in a nutshell during March. Hey, Snarp, what up, sir?
Hey, Snarp.
Well, let's see.
But
Yeah, let's see who else is going to show up. You know, Snarb, the big eyeballs you put there kind of remind me of The Great Gatsby. With its laser firing eyeball glasses. Prime's here.
I'm actually interested. Oh, hey, Prime, what's up, sir?
Hey, Prime.
Yeah, you were saying, Mike?
On one hand, I would be interested to see what you think of the actual book if you were to ever to read it, but I personally think it's one of the most overrated tomes of Americana to ever exist. So
Kind of up there with Gone
I
with
am
the
a
Wind.
little skewed. Maybe. Yeah. It's a similar veneration from a somewhat akin time, I would say. But then again, for an alleged English major, I'm a little not up on my literature currently. So,
Well, you know,
I don't know. Someone can maybe say more about it than I can.
I tried reading Gone with the Wind once. I got to, I think, page 55, and nothing had happened. And it's like, okay, I'm bored and I'm done.
Some of those books, really.
You found out.
Yeah. You figured it out. I would love to discuss Trio of the Punch if we were talking arcade games, but it is merely the NES for now.
You've had plenty of opportunities to discuss Trio of the Punch, though.
I think I think I already have by now. That's a good point.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, yes, Sharon's here. Tomorrow's her birthday. Yay.
Hey, happy birthday,
late.
Sharon.
Happy early birthday. Happy late birthday. Wow.
Merry
Well,
unbirthday.
A very merry unbirthday to me, to you. Anyway.
Happy birthday. Anyway,
Is that Frosty the Snowman?
that's right. I
Ah,
was wondering if somebody's going to catch that.
Happy birthday! That's all I remember for an adaptation.
I used to watch it all the time, but it's been years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's been a
same.
while.
Anyway. All right, so. What kind of flavors there, Batty? Are you thinking of anything in particular?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Dekoge is Data East Kusoge. I have heard that term.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say on yeah, I think I heard that term on Random Strangers thing.
I was just curious.
Donald Land,
Donald
for
Land?
one. Donald Land exists. That
You know,
it's not as good as McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure on the Genesis. I can say that.
You are. I gotta give it to Donald Land. At least it looks nice.
Yeah, reasonably reflective of the McDonald's whatever the hell vibe they're going for. I'm sure it's a better game than McKids, but what do I know?
Oh, come on, McKids is the greatest. I'm kidding, but you know.
Well, some would say that
Well, the music's not bad. I'll give it that.
Some would say the NES port of Bad Dudes actually qualifies too.
Oh my!
It
God,
is a little
what-
choppy. Yeah,
Well,
that is
Oh, that's
actually
just-
a fair disagree with that.
well, then again, some people would say the arcade Bad Dudes qualifies too, but I don't agree with them.
I wouldn't go that
The
far. It
NES
might not be my
NES
favorite
yeah.
game.
Would get
It may not be my favorite game, let alone by Data East, but you know, it's a fun enough kick their ass simulator. So
I still remember the
Yeah.
ads they were running in the late '80s in video game magazines, where it's like Bad Dudes makes Double Dragon pale in comparison. And
Oh, I remember that.
yeah, what gets me is like we're even available on more systems than they are, and yet they very
Competitive?
conspicuously left off several consoles that Double Dragon have imported to. that
Right.
hey Brandon,
hey,
Brandon.
Brandon, what up? Oh, Glory of Heracles, maybe? I forgot that was Data East. That might not be the right one, but that's all I
Yeah,
can think of off the top of my head.
I remember seeing that Santa Claus Christmas card maker, but it's been years.
Interesting little piece of
That's
kit,
funny.
that.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Well, anyway, we got a pretty good grad here so far, so why don't we just go ahead and really?
You'll know it. Ow.
That's an interesting game. It's as interesting as the original Famicom version.
Yeah, the
Except that-
Masked Ninja Hanamaru, was it? I'm surprised I remember
yeah,
that name.
something like that. Huh. So, let's say we go ahead and dive in here. So, Jay, let's go with you first. What's the first one you want to talk
Okay, so the first game?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's start with my first in the list, I guess. Destiny of an Emperor.
Yeah.
That is a RPG that's on the NES that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. It's more of the other ones that Toei did, I believe, which was Romance of the Three Kingdoms. A lot more people talk about those versus this one. But what I like about this is very RPG style. You have your characters, your levels, your battle system, and it's in feudal Japan, and it's just a lot of fun to play. But like I said, I just don't hear a lot of people talk about it. So I've been wanting to talk about it, and I've been wanting to stream it just to give it some love and care. That is a game that I don't know if anybody knows about that here. I think Mike knows, and you as well, Rob, a little bit. But beyond that, what about anybody in the chat? I'm curious if anybody knows about this RPG.
And I'm also curious, what about Physical Fighter, Batty?
Physical Fighter. Interesting.
I've heard of that name. I forget what the heck it is, though. A quick cursory glance. It appears to be a shoot 'em up.
Yeah, except it's also like an
hey.
RPG, if I remember correctly.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
That's interesting.
Oh shit! I'll have to look into this one.
One thing I do want to say is that we're actually just talking about games that were released in North America, even if they did get released in Japan and Europe and whatnot. But we're sticking to that.
Yeah.
The localized one. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost considered something from the Famicom Disk System. That might be, but I figured that would have been a little too far out in space. So, not tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Destiny of an Emperor is by Capcom, if I remember correctly, right, Jay?
It is,
that's
yes.
Right. Yeah, one of the earlier Capcom RPGs that they've done at the time, which is interesting because I don't see it too often from them, especially these days, which they usually dive into, be it Resident Evil or whatever. But Destiny of an Emperor is from Capcom.
I remember my late brother playing that quite a bit back in the early 90s. Oh, he was a big RPG fan.
So it came out around that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it was an RPG, he usually had to at least try it. So,
that was me. I get it.
Well, he liked that one, so he held on to
it. What's really cool about it too is that you can recruit. You can some of the enemies that you fight. So like after you beat them, to like either join you or they will just take off. But sometimes they'll ask for gold or whatever the money is, or a horse. So like you can get horses in the game to recruit soldiers and things like that. Until you get like these special characters, the 5 tigers, and then it doesn't matter at that point. But there's a lot of nifty ideas that they threw into this game. You also have to worry about rations. You have to worry about your armies, because the way your hit points work is not actually hit points. It's your armies. So they have different wording, but it's the same concept, but still.
Yeah, I mean, it does work like a fairly straightforward RPG, but I do like that garnish of the hit points being the people in the general's command, even though they can't really visually represent that. But it's a cute little idea.
Yeah, and I like the music as well.
Batty also had to say that it was based on a manga from the same author of the Strider Hiryu manga. And
okay, that idea.
Yeah. And it is based on Tenchiel Karao, which itself is a manga adaptation of Romance of the Three Kingdoms. So this is a double adaptation, so to speak. That game also was that manga also was the basis for the not so excellent Dynasty Wars, which was an arcade game they did, not related but to Dynasty Warriors, not technically, but it's the same source material. But also for the considerably better Warriors of Fate. Not a bad beat 'em up, that one. Maybe not my favorite Capcom did, but it was pretty neat. So they got a surprising amount of mileage out of what was a semi-obscure-ish manga, but they ran with it, and I respect that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know it was based on that. That's pretty cool, actually. I played the game so many times as a kid. It was kind of cryptic in some areas. Like if you want to get past this one dude who's sleeping, you have to wait until a certain time frame. Talk to him, but don't talk to him, and then you gotta wait till he's gone, and then you gotta hunt him down just to get past to this other area of the country, and it's like, okay, there's some cryptic.
That's recruiting. I'm probably butchering the name, but Zhu Liang, the really famous strategist who was like instrumental for the for Liu Bei's forces to win the Battle of the Red Cliff. I know a bit about the Three Kingdoms, mostly due to playing some of the Dynasty Warriors games. I'm a little bit of a nerd for that bullshit, but he was apparently notoriously difficult to get in like actual life too. So at least that's the impression I get. But anyway, continue. And hey, Mo, what's up?
Hey, Mo. Yeah, so we didn't have the internet back then to even figure that out. So we were running around with our heads cut off at the time, trying to figure out how to get even past that guy, because you can't proceed the story at all if you can't recruit Suji Leon at all.
Yep.
So it was a kind of a blockage. So, and we were renting the game too. Like, I didn't own it, so we rented it over the weekend. Tried to do it with me and my friend. And every time we get to that point, it's like, what the heck do we do? So, but I know how to do it nowadays. But still, it is such an interesting concept of a game, because I was so used to playing like Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior and things like that, and then you get to this game where you have to worry about your people's rations, because if you run out of rations, your people die, your armies die.
Just like real
so
life.
you're losing health throughout the game if you don't. Exactly. Kind of thing. So there was a lot of interesting, cool ideas that they threw in the game, and I don't know. I just think it was one of those underrated RPGs that nobody talks about these days. And it has a sequel, although it was never truly localized over here. So at least not released in the same. I think
Got
it's a
a
fan
fan
edition
translation like Sweet Home, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Which I have played too. It's kind of similar idea. I think it's just more of either it's a sequel or a semi remake. I don't know, because you get Liu Bei's army again and things like that. But it's a little bit more crude, I find, compared to the first game.
Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Yeah, that sounds like the title of a 1960s Charlton romance comic.
Right.
There
It
was
is
a love that was doomed. Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
It is one of the four great novels of Chinese literature. The other ones being Journey to the West, which is probably the most adapted one. It's the one with Goku and whatnot. The somewhat lesser known one is Water Margin, which I think was the basis for the Suikoden series. And the really obscure one is Dream of the Red Chamber, which was the only one I had to read in high school for some reason. I did not understand what the fuck was going on in it.
Okay.
But, yeah. Not to get too far off the beaten path. I have actually beaten Destiny of an Emperor some months back, and it is a neat little game. I mean, of the many Dragon Quest derivatives that popped up on the NES in the 80s, and there were a freaking lot of them. A lot of them we didn't get over here, which is just as well, but like almost all of them are Dragon Quest coded, and admittedly this one is no exception, but I think at least with the setting, if nothing else, it tries to do something different. And you have to be a little bit more tactical with the fights, because sometimes you go up against some pretty tricky generals who have they're able to heal or hit you with some debilitating spells. What I like is that the quote-unquote magic in this game is called tactics, and that's like, causing a rock slide to happen, or like bringing on a flood or whatever, which is apparently something, if Dynasty Warriors is accurate, then this is something that they did quite a bit, so.
For a second I thought you were straying into populous territory.
I mean, they couldn't just snap their fingers. They had dig ditches or whatever to route it, but yeah, if not, I mean, sometimes it does still play pretty straightforwardly, and it is a bit slow at points, especially in the beginning, which is the case for a lot of RPGs, to be fair. But I think if not just for the garnish that goes on it, and it is interesting, and it did a lot more than the typical fantasy happy crappy of the time, which sometimes that's all you need, just a little bit of neater looking packaging to sell something. So
yeah,
I like it.
What's interesting about the whole tactic thing that you mentioned, though, is that you have to have a strategist on your team in order to have the magic in it.
That's right.
So if you don't have a strategist on your team, you cannot use tactics at all. And some of the tactics only work in certain settings. So, like for instance, the flood, you have to be near water to do it. So if you're just on the main land, you can't even use that spell at all.
Yeah, that is another interesting consideration. Not often that location matters. The only other point I could figure that matters is with the Geomancer class in some Final Fantasy games, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are speaking a foreign language to me right now, so.
I have actually been on kind of an RPG kick lately, if you can believe it.
I can believe it.
That's cool.
Okay.
What I wouldn't believe is if you told me you were on a Cobra Triangle kick.
Fuck you. I'm not going to be talking about Cobra Triangle tonight. That game goes in the memory hole in order for me to maintain my sanity.
What Mike is actually saying is that it's his secret favorite NES game.
No.
It's
No.
not on the list, so it's got to be that secret.
You want to play that dirty fool, then I'm sure I could find something of yours that... What can I say? I don't know. Ultimate Stuntman? Shrug. I actually have no idea what you think about that game. Never mind.
I've never played Ultimate Stuntman, so...
It gets repetitive fairly quick. It starts out in a good foot, but afterwards,
Ah, well.
Anyway, Jay, anything else to say about Destiny of the Emperor?
Excuse me. If you can find a way to play the game, give it a shot. It's actually not a bad RPG. And yes, it is in that era of like all those Dragon Warrior clones and things like that. It has a lot of neat ideas. If there's not a lot of character development, I guess you can say it's really about just the armies going after each other, but it's a lot of fun. That's what I would say.
Okay. And Batty, if you're talking to me, I don't mind Snake Rattle and Roll, but it's not on my list. You might hear about it in the stream, though. It's possible. Anyway.
In theory, anything's possible.
Yes.
Sorry.
All right. So, in that case, let's move on to Mike.
I really don't know what order I should go in for mine, but I laid out something of an order when I said the things. Most of them are actually towards the sort of twilight years of the NES. No kidding. I might as well start with the one that was already a reference and is also the basis for my avatar, an action-adventure title by the name of Nightshade. It is a very silly adventure game that is a very also rare example of like a Sierra-esque or a LucasArts-esque adventure that you have a guy, you point and clicks, as they called them sometimes. You walk around to investigate stuff. There's a mystery going on. There's a bad guy that needs defeating, and you can't just punch your way to him, although you are going to do a lot of punching. There's lots of stuff and such that you have to find out, but...
Isn't the bad guy some kind of Egyptian god or something?
His name is Sutek, and, well, he's not... He's actually a former library assistant who apparently just got a huge power trip and became an Egyptian-themed villain. This game actually has a subtitle, Nightshade Part 1, The Claws of Sutek. And I don't know if that Part 1 is a gag or if they did actually have a Part 2 that they wanted to do. Honestly, it's anyone's guess at this point. And the game starts out with Nightshade already tied to a chair and Sutek gloating about how much Nightshade sucks. So then you have to sidle your chair behind a wall so that you don't let the bomb blast hit you. And then you sidle towards a candle to burn off the ropes. It already at the gate is a little involved. And yeah, there is some like weird moon logic bullshit, as is somewhat endemic to these sorts of games. But I like the style. It's a very dark game that just has a very interesting atmosphere I don't see in a lot of other NES titles. But it's also very ridiculous. Like, Nightshade himself, apparently just an average guy named Mark, who doesn't even really have any superpowers. He just put on a trench coat, fedora, and sunglasses at night, like I guess that one hit wonder thingy by Corey Hart, was it, I want to say?
Yeah.
That just decides to go on and fight crime, and he wants to kick Sutek's ass, but he ideally has to go through his 4 lieutenants first. And you have once you get out of the sewer that you're trapped in, you can go like anywhere in the city. There's a fairly extensive map that all connects to each other. And I remember this game was covered in Nintendo Power, and it had the map laid out of everywhere that you could go. The exploration factor is pretty interesting. It's like, this game's wacky sense of humor really gets it ahead. Like, one of my favorite bits is if you decide to pick a fight with a squirrel in the park, Nightshade exclaims, "Oh no, a Vorpal squirrel!" And then you lose a little bit of life and popularity at the same time. All of the blonde bimbos in this game just so happen to be lady ninjas as well for some reason. There's a pizza guy who's calling for a Mr. Caravaggio in the sewers, which I think they're the irradiated sewer mutant rats that you can find down there or whatever, which fairly obvious what his parody inspiration is there. And like all the British gentlemen that you fight in this game, like they put up their dukes for that really ridiculous old-timey pose with the fists up and whatnot, and they're just very blatantly like core blimey British and all that. It's a little hard to explain, but this game's absurdist sense of humor like really aligned pretty well with me in particular. There are also action sequences. You actually have to get into fights, and those are probably among the more disputed parts of the game, but I didn't mind them so much once I got used to them. It really helps to crouch in those, because if for some reason it looks like Nightshade's crouch punches have more range than his standing ones. This game can be tough, and unlike other adventure games, I don't think you can actually save in this one. Well, no, wait. I forget if you can save or not, but I know that if you, die too many times, you actually lose and have to start over from the beginning. It's not a particularly long game. It can be completed in about an hour, or even under an hour, if you know where to go. And it's one of those titles where, even if you die, you at least know what you're doing next time so you can do it faster. So it's a little bit hard, and the interface can be a little tricky to work with. But I'm just surprised at how much this game takes a big swing at trying to be a Sierra-esque adventure game. And despite how cruel it can be, I think fairer than most Sierra games are, in my opinion, but I might be biased. And it's just a really weird, wacky, cool, and unique game overall that I would gladly recommend to anyone who thinks they've seen everything on the NES. But if you haven't seen this, then no, you haven't.
Now, I remember trying the game out, not my speed, but I also remember watching Eugene stream it. I don't know if you were there tonight, Jay.
Yeah, I
Nice.
remember.
Mm-hmm. So, it certainly, the further he got into it, it certainly looked more interesting. I've never been the graphic adventure type.
Yeah, I tend to be off and on with them sometimes, but this one just hit the right notes for me. It is, not counting the Icon Mac Ventures.
Those are the only ones I ever got
It
into.
is, well, yeah.
Ironically, except for Deja Vu.
Yeah, so only 2 out of the 3 then, so to speak. But I would say this is the best. Well, this is the best adventure game on the NES that isn't an adaptation of what's already a PC adventure game. For all I know, it might actually be the only one, too, at least not counting all of the visual novels or whatever that we did not get over here. And the big bomb to drop here is this game was developed by Beam Software, who was known for some of the most notoriously shitty NES games ever, like Back to the Future and Bad Street Brawler, and my brother really hates the game based off of Bigfoot the monster truck. But for some reason, they somehow got their shit together and made something actually competent and pretty extensive. It's rough around the edges, but this is just like so much. It's like they must have gotten like some sort of programming or design wizard in between this and the last game they did.
Well, don't forget, a broken clock is still right twice a day.
There is also that, yes. Although, while, part 2 for this game never materialized, and it's questionable as to whether or not it would ever exist, a few elements of this game actually went into the SNES Shadowrun game that Beam would go on to make 2 years later, and I'm a big fan of that one, too. So, yeah, Beam just got their shit together for a while, and then they died, but, so it goes.
These things happen, $8.
$8, yep.
You got any thoughts on this one, Jay?
Other than watching Eugene stream it, it looked interesting enough. I have played a few rather adventure games like that, be it like the Sierra stuff or anything like that, I guess. It looked interesting enough. I do kind of want to try it out to see if I would like it. From what I saw, it looked enjoyable, but again, I'm not there actually playing it, but it looked interesting enough. I don't know much beyond what I've seen Eugene play, though. But I like to try something once and see if I like it and then go on from there. But it looks cool.
Yep. It is absolutely worth a try. Like I said, it does have some... its interface can be a little tricky to work with, and it can be a mean game at some points, but I think it is at least worth trying for like an hour or so to see what you think of it. And also, Prime makes a good point. Exactly. Maybe Beam was given enough time to fully finish the game. Most of Beam's work up to now were like licensed crap. They did a lot for LJN, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure those were like real rush jobs that they were just doing for beer money. Nightshade is not licensed on anything, so they had all the time they had to work on this, so maybe that's why this one actually came out pretty decently.
Could be. And hey, Eris, how's it going?
Hey there, Eris. What up?
And going back a little ways here, Brandon actually made a comment about new games that are homebrew and repro, like Garbage Pail Kids and Leisure Suit Larry.
That's right. Leisure Suit Larry did get a homebrew port. Looked pretty neat from what I gathered.
We're all doing okay here, Eris.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's Nightshade in a nutshell, I guess.
Yeah. Or don't call him Lampshade. That's not what it is. He has...
I was thinking about Lampshade, to be honest.
I think he gets called several other names throughout the game, but I forget what exactly. I did also want to say something I forgot is that, like, this game's obviously not licensed to anything, but something about its overall sense of humor reminds me of The Tick. Like, a very subversive 90s superhero show or something of the sort. That is a series that I need to get on someday,
The cartoon was great. I can't vouch for the live-action one. Never saw it.
Gotcha.
Never seen that either, but I do like that kind of humor anyway. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the next one here, which would be my first pick. And now here's something we can all enjoy. Okay, everyone, by rights, the majority of people here should know Konami. And with the absolute incredible assortment of NES games they released, you had your Castlevanias, your Contras, your Gradius games, and then you had the occasional one-off like Russian Attack and the Adventures of Bayou Billy.
Hope you save the receipt.
Thank you, Mike. I was waiting for that.
It had to be done.
Yep. But I want to talk about the best game that has been kind of mostly overlooked as time has gone on. At least in my opinion. That would be Konami's Jackal. It's a little part overhead running gun, another part choplifter. And you drive a tank, you throw bombs at stuff, you get to run over enemy soldiers and
tank. Hang on, you're confusing it with Iron Tank. You said tank.
You're right.
You mean
Sorry.
Jeep.
I'm also tired.
Right?
Yeah. So yes, if I may correct myself, then yes, you're in a Jeep. Yeah, I have a tendency to get up early these days, so by now I'm starting to feel a little tired. But yes, you're in a Jeep.
That's right.
You're throwing grenades and eventually upgrade to missiles, and you got a machine gun, and you basically the story is that there are POWs from the Vietnam War being still held in Cambodia. So your guys have to go in and get them out. Yes, see, Batty knows.
Yes, that was also some of the other names it was known by. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, you basically have to deliver the hostages to a waiting helicopter, get them all loaded. If your Jeep gets destroyed, then you're going to lose a couple of them, but you can pick most of the rest of them up. And every so often you find, just kind of a hut standing by itself, where if you go inside or you blow it up and the guy runs out and he's flashing, that's a power up for you. And once you've saved the hostages on a particular stage, then you go ahead and you fight the boss, which could be anything from tanks to a giant tank.
An even bigger tank. What a twist.
Uh-huh. Well, there's other stuff too, like those weird-looking statue heads that shoot missiles at you.
Yeah, the Medusa heads from another game.
Yeah.
But
it's a great two-player game, too.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you've, worn out all the Contras playing with somebody, fire up Jackal. So, yeah, that last stage is rough. I've beaten it a couple of times, but yeah.
It's a toughie.
Mm-hmm. So, that being said, I love Jackal. It's one of my absolute favorite NES games. So, Jay, what are your thoughts on it?
To be honest, I think I only played a couple times in my life. So, but I have seen Captain Algebra play it not long ago, and it made me want to give it another shot. It looks like a lot of fun, but I never finished the game. So,
you definitely should try and play through it to the end.
Oh yes,
it looks good. Looks really good. And I'm like, oh, did I sleep on this somehow? I don't recall, but.
Which
maybe
is exactly
because I was playing a lot of RPGs at the time. I don't know.
And that's exactly why we're doing this stream, though, because a lot of people did sleep on Jackal, and a lot of the other games we mentioned.
Yeah. So I'm happy that it's gotten more recognition as of recently because of like Captain Algebra and other people. But it does look really like a blast to play. No pun intended, but
yeah. Oh, there's a lot of blown up stuff in that game. So, and yes, I know exactly what Batty's talking about. So yeah, definitely go ahead and fire it up and get into it. It's totally worth it. So, Mike.
Rob probably already has an idea of this, but I also love Jackal. I point to it as an example of just a pure action game. Like, one of the most no bullshit, from start to finish, sticks entirely to its premise. Just a really fun ride from start to finish, and it wears what it is on its sleeve, and I think it's all the better for it. Just 4 guys in a Jeep blowing shit up, and that's all you need. It like almost even more so than Contra and Castlevania, which had trickles of lore to them even back in the day. Jackal just doesn't have any story to it except this battle will make your blood boil. Good luck. And then you're going right
Damn
into
right.
it. That's all you need. 6 levels of some pretty intense action, and I do like. Apparently, some localizations were different with this, but I do like how the machine gun that you have remains fixed to fire up, while your explosives are omnidirectional at 8 ways. I think in some adaptations, the machine gun can also be turned, but I don't know. I like it how it is shooting up fixed because that allows you to have some more evasive maneuvers going at the same time. It just felt more unique to the operation of the game. And it is funny that you mentioned that you accidentally did say that you piloted a tank because I do think that stylistically and in gameplay, this game does have some similarities with Iron Tank by SNK, which is another game that I like quite a lot. But I would say I probably like Jackal more than Iron Tank. Iron Tank, for as much as I love it, can be a little slow and feel like in some cases like it's a little hard to avoid stuff because you are piloting a tank and you're moving relatively slow. Jackal, for the most part, is very fair.
Yeah.
It is mostly not bullshit. Except for the final level with those fucknut helicopters. You know those assholes if you've been there. And the final boss, I think, is hard to predict when it's going to fire sometimes. So that is probably going to cost you some lives. I'm not even sure I fully figure out a pattern to that. So it gets a little bullshit near the end, but it is mostly not sneaky with how it is. It's just fair, it's pure, it's a fantastic burst of energy. It's still one I like to play nowadays. I'm still pretty good at it, although, like you said, that final level is tough, and I do feel like last time I played the game, I thought I was really eating shit a lot in the final level, and I thought my abilities were rusting a bit, but all things considered, though, Jackal is still one of my favorite games as well. And yeah, it's a shame that like Konami did absolutely nothing else with this. I don't even know if it even got a shout out in any of their other games. Which,
not to
like,
my recollection.
what the heck? Even Green Beret got a sequel, and I like that one quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Jackal got more than like Combat School or whatever, if you remember that one. But
yeah, but I don't count that.
Yeah, no, it's totally fair. But yeah, Jackal's just awesome. If you haven't played it yet, then yeah, do that. Definitely do that.
And here's a fun fact for you: the original Famicom Disk System release is basically half the game. And
right, I remember that. That's weird.
Yeah, it's like in a rare case, we actually got the better version of the game.
We did, yeah. Holy shit! How often does that freaking happen?
Not a lot. The only other thing I could think is even comparable is that we got a superior soundtrack in Simon's Quest.
Yeah, that we did. Mm-hmm. The sound capabilities of the FDS didn't match up to that for some reason.
Nope. I'm not sure what Konami was thinking on that one. So, anyway.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, we're going to turn it back over to Jay with his next one.
Well, I'm just going to go down the list. I guess I don't have any strat. These are not in any order except for technically the last one. So we're going to go with a lot of people think of it as a Castlevania clone. Mm-hmm. It almost feels like it. But we're going to call on 8 Eyes. It is the... Don't remember the guy's name or anything, but he has this little bird that helps him out. He goes to these... I think it's like 8 different locations. You can hunt down the enemies and fight them, but it's a kind of a hard game unless you know exactly what you're doing. If you go to the right stage and start going in a particular order, then the bosses are a lot easier. You get your upgrades through the fighting these bosses for your weapons.
So kind of Mega Man-esque.
Very Mega Man-esque, yeah. So if you go in the wrong order, you're gonna have a tough time going through the game. It's fun. I like it, but it's definitely no Castlevania. But I do like the idea that you have to kind of figure where to go to get the right weaponry from the bosses. And your bird, you can technically have a second player play the bird if you really wanted to, or you can control the bird yourself, sorta, which is kind of neat in my opinion. I do kind of like the music. The aesthetic is pretty cool. Um, yeah, there's not much I could say about other than the fact that it's kind of like playing Castlevania without using the whip, and you have a
Okay.
bird.
You get to poke
Yeah.
people with a little stick.
Yeah, but it gets better throughout. So, like after you beat a boss, your weapon gets stronger and things like that. If you do the boss, then fight the next boss in line and things like that, and then you have the boss rush, a typical, Mega Man at the end of the game. And it's I forget who does it, but I think is Tacton that did the game or something like that.
I know
You don't hear about this company all that much back then.
it was originally released in Japan by Sega, who actually published it for Thinking Rabbit.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
That was that company.
Yeah, see?
And hey, there's a Firo. What's up?
Yeah, that's Vero.
But it's hard to have a lesser known favorite games, but I guess technically would be there just because it is fun. It's actually a fun game once you know what you're doing. If you didn't know what you're doing, you're gonna be frustrated as all heck for a while.
One thing I do
But
know is
it took me a while to figure out the pattern, and then I am sorry.
Well, I said one thing I do know is you're supposed to eventually end up at the House of Ruth.
Yeah.
I always thought that
And
was
we
an
fight the bosses all over again.
interesting name for a stage. The House of Ruth? Okay.
Is it like Ruth's Chris Steakhouse or whatever? I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. No, but it's fun. It's like I said, I know people don't really like it because they thought it was just a straight up Castlevania clone.
Poke,
I mean,
poke,
technically
poke,
it is. But you can poke and you have a bird. The bird thing is what sells it on me. For me, you can send that bird out and he can hurt the enemies if you do it right, and then he can come back and perch on your shoulder. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's actually probably the coolest thing about the game is the Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
Still, it was definitely an interesting effort. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I'll give you that. And Scroll Boss. Love the Eight Eyes comic book ads with that art by Frank Sirocco.
Yeah, I think that's the same.
Saying that right?
Was that the same artwork they used on the cover of the game?
Oh, I think so. I don't know.
Ooh.
I'm not 100% sure. Cables.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens. I would
Damn.
completely go back and exchange those too.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. So,
But beyond that, I don't have a huge amount of about Eight Eyes other than it's fun. It's no Castlevania, but if you want a different style, Castlevania-esque, I say give it a shot.
there you go. Now, what about you, Mike? What do you think about Eight Eyes? What?
On the one hand, if I want to be brutally honest without being better informed, I think the game kind of sucks. But that Jay has said that if you don't know how to play, you're going to be a bad time is maybe giving me pause at making such a blanket statement. I might actually have to ask you, how exactly to play it the right way someday, because if there was something I was missing to it, then maybe I'll give it another shot once I'm better informed on it. It does have a fairly interesting style, and the bird is cool, and I'm just amused / bemused at how much the protagonist sprite is just completely biting from Castlevania 2 era Simon Belmont, but
I'll give you that.
Uh,
But it does seem like, yeah, if you play this like a straight Castlevania game, it's going to be iffy in some cases. So yeah, I can buy. There's probably a degree of education goes into this one. I guess that might bring up the question of if it's worth. Is it how much really is it worth learning to put in the effort for what you get out of it? But I will trust you that it is a pretty fun game once you got the research down pat, if nothing else. And yeah, Low G Man Baddie was actually one I considered talking about tonight since it is the earliest game I ever remember playing, and that cemented my love for oddballs just at that point out the gate in life. But um, I ultimately decided not to talk about it because it can be a little bit of a rough game and an acquired taste, and we're not in so much speaking about nostalgia as we are games of significant quality as well. So,
you know,
but yes.
that is the most I remember about Low G Man. The thing that immediately comes into my head whenever I see it is that bit from the opening. But then they came. Wilson and Low G Man.
Yep, yep. That
And
is how that game starts, all right.
and Prime, I didn't know he did the cover of Bionic Commando.
Hmm. Oh
Oh,
shit.
that's interesting.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Cool.
So Zafiro and Batty are saying that Rusty and Master of Darkness have replaced Eight Eyes.
Rusty, I have yet to play, but I do love me some Master of Darkness. That game doesn't even hide how much of a blatant Castlevania clone it is. But
That's what
as
drew
far
me
as
to it in the
clones
first
go,
place.
exactly. As far as clones go, it is really damn fun. And the SMS might as well have its own Castlevania-esque game if Konami isn't willing to play ball with them.
Oh, so what you're saying is
For
Kinsaid just
some.
wasn't enough? We needed two? Well, I agree with you.
I was going to say, yeah, we can also have Ken Saden, which itself is like, the lost child of Castlevania and Genpei Tomaden.
Yeah.
I think there was maybe another game I was thinking of compared to, but I forget what off the top of my head.
Well, now we're actually getting
Also, a bit of
Castlevania for it too. So
yes, yeah, that's right. Someone's working on a home for it. That's pretty fucking cool.
mm-hmm.
But yes. Lots of good shit to play. Too much almost.
Yep.
Anyway, Rob, what do you think about Eight Eyes yourself?
Poke, 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 poke.
That's so basically that's what you think of that.
Yeah.
Where's the cheese with Doom?
It's like how
Kinda.
long time back, we Betty and I did a video about Musia for the Super NES,
Oh yeah, that game is so mediocre.
and that was exactly what she said about the guy in that with his pike. She's like poke, poke,
That's
poke, poke,
right.
poke, poke.
Funny.
He
That's
did.
funny.
He did have a pokey spear. That is true.
Honestly,
Um,
honestly, I don't blame you if you don't. People don't like the game. It's very cryptic. It's hard at the beginning until you figure out the order.
yeah, I'm
So
gonna
I get
say
it.
on a more serious note that I don't hate Eight Eyes. I've never once made it to a single boss in the game, mainly because I don't know what I'm doing. And I really like the Falcon.
Yeah, the bird is definitely the best part and probably the most unique signifier the game has. I think its name is Kutris or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
The guy's name is Orin, also, if I didn't
Yep.
mention that. But yes. It has some interesting ideas and a pretty cool style to it. But yeah, I couldn't grok it when I got around to playing it. But yeah, I'll hit you up sometime, ask for some advice how to play the game properly, because, if you say it's worth learning, then I'm sure it's worth learning.
Yeah, There is one tip right away though, like whenever you go to any of the places, right outside, because you have to open up the door to get inside. There's hidden items that can help you throughout the stage right away. You hit these blocks, and you'll find little packages in almost every one of them. So,
yeah. Oh shit! Cool.
All right. So, Mike, what's your next pick?
My next pick, I think I am going to go with a very fun one that, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Zafiro might be a fan of this one too. That would be Metal Storm by Irem and Tamtex.
Yeah.
A game where you play as a cool, almost Gundam-esque robot guy. At least, I don't know, the style just reminds me a bit of that. And you go through 6 original stages of zapping enemies, not getting zapped yourself, and most notably, reversing gravity as the situation calls for it. This game lives and dies on its gravity mechanic, where, you know, if you hold up when you're on the ground and press jump, then you flip to the ceiling, and the ceiling becomes the floor. And, you know, hold down, do that reverse as well. The entire game is built around... Yes, Zaf is indeed a Maelstrom fan. I'm glad I recalled that right. Everyone I know who's played this game thinks it's awesome, and that's why it's one that I'm very much glad to recommend. It is just so freaking cool and thoroughly commits to its premise, for the most part, from start to finish. There is a lot of like pretty tricky decisions you have to make there. Like, I recall a memorable bit in the second stage, which is huge enough that like the screen just like keeps kind of scrolling infinitely if you flip up into it. And there's this bit where there's like these swinging gates that turn when you switch gravity, but if you turn right next to them, the gate fucking crushes you. Yep. So you gotta find the right place to flip in order to not get squished by the gate. And there's another stage that's like this cage that you're stuck in that keeps rolling around in all sorts of different directions, and these floating thingies that you also have to flip around to get out of the way of. And
also, don't forget the stage with the R-Type cameo.
There are also... Oh, yeah, I was going to get to the bosses, which also, require you to keep on flipping the right moments. I should note that you can flip in midair, so that's kind of like something of a double jump that you have at your disposal. And the bosses also require you to flip around in order to hit their weak spots. Like the first boss, which has 3 of them as it shoots rings at you, looks like a sort of wicked Gradius-esque sort of boss. And there's this other one that's this really neat like transformer bot that has 3 different forms that shoot different types of lasers that you need to maneuver around. And the stage 6 boss are these 3 platforms that just keep moving around clockwise, but they're your only floor that you have, so you really have to constantly switch to stay on them and to stay alive. And in the background of that stage, you see what looks like the warship from stage 3 of R-Type.
There's a whole fleet of them out there, if I remember correctly.
That's right. So if this game does have any relation to the Bido War, I don't know if anyone's ever confirmed that officially or not, but I do think that is a pretty neat little relation, whatever the case. I have just many good things to say about Metal Storm. Notably, unfortunately, I do have one major criticism, and that is the 7th and final stage is just, unfortunately, a lazy and uninspired straight-up boss rush, where you have to fight all 6 bosses again. Even the one that you just killed, the really tough one, the three platforms that I mentioned, which is a really huge peeve of mine. I just did this a few minutes ago. Why am I doing this again? But and then you do all that to get to a very anticlimactic final boss, which doesn't even fight back.
How very gracious.
It does end on a very deflating note, but it's just such a great ride getting there that I'm not going to bitch too much. It doesn't bring down the game as a whole. I also hear that I don't think I've ever done the second loop on it. Maybe I should someday. If you do the second loop, the final boss actually does fight back to an extent. But I'm not sure if it'd be worth doing that for that, but it would be interesting to see. At any rate, disappointing ending aside, Metal Storm is otherwise a really fantastic game. Can be a tricky one. You do have to get very good at the gravity flipping, when to time it, and how to use it. But once you get used to it, it's just a really fantastic and addictingly innovative action title. So, what do either of you guys think about it?
Jay?
Never played it. I don't recall playing it. I was looking it up a little bit there just to be like, I don't think I've ever played this game.
You need to rectify that.
You were well, I was going to say, you were selling me on it until you hit the last stage. I'm done. I don't want to play it anymore. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, shoot. I shouldn't have mentioned that.
No, I get it. Sometimes you have to rush through like the final part of production sometimes, how studios go.
Yeah, I will actually say, if you don't intend to do the second loop, and if you don't mind not seeing the ending, because I don't think there is too much of an ending either, except just some text, you would be fine just ending it on the Stage 6 boss, because I do think that is arguably the toughest and most climactic part of the game as it is, so...
Okay.
But yeah.
Well...
No, but from what you're saying, it sounds cool. I like the idea of you flipping to the ceiling to kind of have different ways of playing it. So
it's just so neat.
Yeah. I'll definitely want to try it out.
Yes, I absolutely recommend it if you haven't touched it yet. And do let me know what you think if you do.
Will do, for sure.
Awesome.
You should know where I stand on it. I mean, when I was selecting graphics to use on the background here... Wait, just look.
That's right. The Metal Storm guy is there, third from the left.
Yep.
I can't remember the protagonist's name. Shit. For as much as I like it, I think it's like THX1138. I almost want to say. Shit. Now I have to look this up. The player character is known as the M308 Gunner. That's it. Right.
Yes.
So good old Emmy, as you could all maybe call it. But yes.
I'd be confused with the M209.
Yeah, definitely not. I think the Gunner actually has a different color palette in the Japanese version. I think the Japanese version maybe changes a couple of other things around, but I forget which the differences.
Well,
I don't think we can
get
changes the inversion control. Oh shit. I forget how it was changed. Was it like reversed or inverted somehow? Damn, I don't remember.
Something else you should know. The Famicom version was actually released after the US version.
Oh yeah, it's one of those games. There were a few that were like that. I think all I can think of right now is the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, which none of us were really talking about tonight.
Well, it may also interest you to know that when Tamtex was finishing the game for the Japanese release, they included stuff like an intro. And
that's right.
Probably an ending, too, other than just a wall of text.
Probably had a little bit more of an ending to it. Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah, the only reason I chose the NES Metal Storm mech was because it stood out between Arthur and Holy Diver there.
That's a good point. It is predominantly white in the Japanese version, and, well, those guys are also white, so, it is what it is.
So, yeah, Metal Storm, awesome game, no matter what region you play it in.
Totally.
Nice.
So, that said, I guess we'll move on to my next choice. Let's see what that is. You know, I think I'm going to go with one of the earliest NES games I ever played. Iron Tank. Now, in this game...
Oh, wait! That was the thing that I meant. Shit! I forgot you put that on your list. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said anything about it. God damn it.
Well, that's okay. That just means you're going to get to be cut off before you really go off on stuff about it.
Perfect. Yeah,
So,
I deserve that. Anyway, continue.
So in Iron Tank, you're driving a Jeep, and you're... You saw what I did there, didn't you?
Son of a...
Anyway,
Funny looking.
it's a very heavily armored Jeep with treads and a big-ass cannon and everything.
Yep.
But you are playing another character named Snake, who is actually landing in French territory in World War II on D-Day. So you do pick up hostages as you go along, though you don't have to, get them out of there like you do in Jackal. They just give you information or say thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, I like whenever they say thanks, and I just hit A over and over again.
Yeah.
Thanks. I spam that a lot.
Yeah, but like Jackal, you can run over ground troops. So,
Oh, that's always fun.
oh yeah, and just the way they do this little animation where they're like screaming in agony. It's like, take that,
It's
you Nazi
gruesome,
bastards.
but they're Nazis, so it's okay.
Yeah. You have to contend with other things too, like other tanks and planes that'll come along and strafe the ground, and the occasional V2 buzz bomb. And that
These guys are jerks.
the V2 buzz bomb explosion, I think, is one of the main reasons that they started including those warning sheets about seizures.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Because when one of those comes down, yeah, it lights up the entire screen.
Oh yeah, it's fucking nuts.
And you can also pick up power-ups represented by letters, which some of them refuel your energy. Other ones, you can actually select them either one at a time or combine them all and really power up your main cannon, which comes in very handy with the bosses. And you can even see when you go to select this stuff, there's a map right there showing you how far you have to go to get to the main base. I've gotten pretty far in the game. I've never actually finished it, but I've been playing it for as long as I have. You think I would have by now, but no. And fun fact, in Japan, the game was called Great Tank. Well, it is a great tank.
Okay.
It is, yes.
But it's a fun game, and I never see anyone talk about it, like, ever. And if I remember correctly, it was kind of a home sequel to the little-known arcade game TNK 3. Or something along those lines, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've liked it ever since I first played it, and that was, let's see, nearly 30 years, nearly 40 years ago now. Good Lord. Anyway. Yes. Yeah, I can't argue with that at all, Batty.
Yeah, definitely. Something relevant to that point. Wasn't this one of the first, if not the first game for the NES that SNK actually developed in-house after ditching those terrible, horrible, no-good frauds Micronics?
I think it was.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That was a very
good.
You should give Iron Tank a shot.
It's some fun stuff, yeah. To steal the rod before... if Rob was going to give that to Jay first, I apologize. But I also wanted to chat about Iron Tank because this is a childhood favorite of mine growing up. It is one of many games that from the grab bag of stuff that my brother got from our local video and game rental place that was getting rid of NES stock to make room for the SNES and Genesis. So he got this cheap, I'm sure, and I have always really enjoyed it. It just has this really neat atmosphere compared to a lot of other games. Like, yeah, I can feel the sense of war with it. It's got a pretty goddamn good soundtrack, and it's like
Yeah.
you see like the map in front of you whenever you pause. It makes it feel a little bit more strategic, as it were. It is definitely a slower pace in Jackal, a little bit more. I don't want to necessarily say cerebral, but I think it requires a little bit more patience to get through with compared to Jackal. But
Well,
it's
think about it, Mike. Say you're driving down a railroad tracks in Iron Tank, and you're just going full speed ahead, and all of a sudden a train comes out of nowhere and just smacks into you, and you die.
yeah,
You got to be
that'll
careful
happen.
about that kind of thing.
Very. Yeah, but yeah, no, it is a really solid game, one that I could easily recommend as well. It does get pretty difficult, but it's so much better than the first two Akari Warriors games.
I ain't kidding about that.
Yeah, like I know you can pilot a tank in the first Akari Warriors, but it sucks and is bad. So
Truly,
that's
there are only
yeah.
two NES games by SNK that I really, really like. That one was Iron Tank. The other is Guerrilla War.
Guerrilla War is also really solid. It really kicks the ass of the Akari Warriors as well, and that's one I can also recommend, although it is historically based on a much less black and white affair in history, let's
In
say.
Japan, anyway.
Yeah,
I want to touch on this a little more later,
otherwise
though.
known as Guevara, but
I want to touch on that a little
yes,
more later,
yes,
actually,
let's-
though. So,
Sounds good.
before Jay takes the stage, do you have anything else you'd like to say about Iron Tank? Sorry,
It
Batty.
is just a really neat. It's if Rob doesn't like Crystallis, don't worry, I do.
It's
So I'll
not
pick up
that
the
I
slack
don't
on
like
his
it.
behalf.
It's just that I don't.
But
It's just that I don't really do action RPGs like that very much. I don't dislike it at all.
it does have some problems, but it's also kind of a childhood favorite of mine. But before I got into the Neo Geo, I did have that in Iron Tank to at least appreciate SNK for. Unfortunately, we also did have Akari Warriors on the NES, and the only value I got out of that was the weird corpse at the end of Stage 3 that I obviously used a Game Genie to reach.
Yeah.
I don't even know why the fuck I did that, come to think of it.
And yes, Sharon, I know you told me about this.
Oh, well.
So, that said, Jay, have you ever played Iron Tank?
Sadly, no.
Another one to add to your list then.
Sadly, no. Yeah, I did.
Yes.
While you guys were talking, I was
Definitely.
listening, and I'm like, I have to look at this game, and because I think I've heard of it. I've heard Metal Storm more so than Iron Tank, but yeah, it looks really cool. A really good looking action game. Like I don't know what maybe I was sleeping a lot during when I was a kid and only wake up for RPGs or action games like that. No, from what I saw, it looks like a lot of fun. Another game I'm gonna have to add to the list, and I also enjoy Chrysalis on that note as well. And Ikari Warriors 3 wasn't too terrible.
Oh yeah, Ikari Warriors 3 and Night at the Paris
Admittedly,
Opera.
it's not.
Or
But Rob always makes fun of how the soldiers look like they're doing frenetic ballet dancing when trying to kick you, so there is that.
No,
so true. And
I agree, but it is definitely better than the first two.
oh yeah, by a mile. Brandon, if there was a Nintendo game based on Tintin,
Default.
if there was a Nintendo game based on Tintin, I'm pretty sure it never left Europe. I can't recall though.
Yeah, I don't
That
remember
would have been
any as such
good.
either, unfortunately, but
Well, it's
it
kind
would
of
have been
like
cool. Yeah.
the Prince Valiant NES game, which was PAL only.
Oh yeah, that was a
Yeah.
Did you
thing.
guys
Huh.
read like the comics back then? So I know it was French at first, at least here, but
We
still.
never got them here,
I
to
don't
my
think I ever
knowledge.
read
Hey,
Tintin, but there was an animated show in the '90s based on Tintin that I remember enjoying when
that's
growing up.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
I'll have to
yes,
track that down, see if it still holds up.
Lupin 3 on the Famicom.
I
All right.
didn't play that, but I played the SNES
Wonderful.
version. I like the SNES version. Well, the Super Famicom version, because it wasn't totally proper here. I think I played the translated, but still, that was all really good. But Lupin's good.
Cool.
You
All
should.
right.
Anyways, that's going on a whole different tangent.
Yep. So moving right along, Jay, we're circling back to you.
Okay, so I'm just gonna get right into it. Forget God of War. We're gonna go for Battle of Olympus. Um, this one is actually not from my childhood. This is more of a newer game, in to me, anyways. I know it's been out for a long time, but I've only played it, I think, last year or the year before, or something like that, because I've seen a couple people talk about it, and I'm like, what the heck is this game? But not many do really get into the major details. But basically, you're playing a character named Orpheus trying to rescue his girlfriend, Helena. Helena. I don't know how to say it, but you have to fight Hades, and you fight a lot of the Greek mythology enemies and all that. And I love Greek mythology. I've always did as a kid. Like I watched like Jason and the Argonauts and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. Um, so just to play an NES game that had that side-scrolling action platforming, and you get to fight Greek monsters, I'm all in. The music's great. And there's some cryptic areas that you have to figure out, but for the most part, it's not a hard game to figure your way through. It's challenging, but a lot of fun. I had a blast from it. So it definitely climbed possibly my top 10 favorite games that I've played for the NES. But it's a newer one, so I don't remember everything. Like I remember some of the games when I was a kid because I played it so many times. This one I played a few times, and I would love to go back to it again. I might even do it on the channel someday. Um, I don't know how many people actually know about it or played it, but it's just the whole Greek thing really kicks it to a high gear for me. I just love the whole mythology of it, and just get that sprays to make it look cool. And yeah, I don't know.
You know,
It's just a fun game. I love it.
I have played Battle of Olympus, and to me, the
Okay,
game looks like someone took Zelda 2 and dressed it up in ancient Greek clothes.
well, that's a fair assessment.
Look at
Okay,
Orpheus' sprite. It looks almost just like Link in Zelda 2.
or you can even argue maybe Pit from Kid Icarus, sort of.
Well,
See a bit of that in there too, to an extent.
yeah, there's a little bit.
But Pit is from that era.
He flew
I never
too
thought of the
close to the
Zelda.
sun.
Yeah.
That's just the first thing that came to my mind the first time I ever played it. It's like, this is like Zelda 2 wearing Greek clothes. So,
Yeah, it kind of does. But still, I don't know. Beyond that, I still enjoy it.
it's a fun game. I never finished it, but I enjoyed it from when I did play it back in the day.
Oh, dang. The don't look guy that an entire era of Greek mythology is named after? What?
Hmm.
It's a pharaoh.
Yeah, that was Orpheus who was instructed to leave Hades and not look back, or he'd lose his fiance or
Oh,
something.
right.
Yeah. And yeah,
That's the crux of the game is that you're trying to get her back. Yeah.
just don't turn around and look. But I remember the ads for this game. So, and I know the reason we got to play it in the first part was, in the first place, was by renting it. So our local video store had a ton of NES games to rent. So I can also, I know what Mike's talking about when he's talking about how he's probably got that grab bag of games he bought from the video store, because I did the exact same thing. Complete in box Tengen Tetris for $6. I still talk about that one.
God damn.
Yeah. But back to Battle of Olympus. I don't really have anything else to say about it, but it was cool. So, Mike?
This is one that I've only touched upon the edge of now and again, but I unfortunately have not played it as much as I probably could. However, I am a fan of Zelda 2. It's definitely got that oddball appeal going for it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I owe this one more of a play someday, because I am also a Greek mythology nerd. Have been since grade school. I forget what the inciting incident was, but I know there's this board game that we had called By Jove, Jove being another name for Zeus in, I believe, Roman, aka Jupiter. That was basically Greek mythology Monopoly, is the best way I can put it. Might be a pretty obscure one. I don't know how well known it is in the greater board game sphere, which I don't know very much about. But I have also always been on Greek mythology, and that this game has the stylings that it does is enough to at least have me interested. I just need to buckle down and find the focus to play through it in full someday is all. But yes.
Yeah, Batty's listed some good ones there.
Fat Xanadu I really like a lot. That one's cool. Romancia I haven't played enough of. I think Wonder Boy 3 The Dragon's Trap is friggin' awesome. And of course I do like Castlevania 2, warts and all, for what it is. So yeah, I like all those games very extent, so I should add Battle of Olympus to that someday if I can like I said, get focused to actually go ahead and do that.
And Batty has a very good
fun
point.
Fact about CV2.
Oh, Batty has a very good point. There would be no Zelda 2 without it. Mm-hmm. I do like me some Dragon Buster.
Interesting. True.
Yeah.
But now you were saying about
Castlevania 2 was my favorite NES one. Oh yeah, Castlevania 2 for the longest time was my favorite NES game.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, weird fact, but yeah.
And
good deal.
Yeah.
Zafiro, I've never heard of this Epic the Musical.
I'm not sure I know about it either, but hey, got you into Greek mythology, then I'm sure it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and hey, Bats, how's it going? Oh, we got Batty and Bats.
Hey, Bats.
Yeah, River City Ransom.
We definitely have Bats in the Belfry, all right.
Mm-hmm.
River City.
Yeah, there's a gosh darn
That's right. Yes,
Bats in the Belfry or Bell Tower.
That is indeed what Street Gangs was known as in the West, River City Ransom, or in Japan, I think it was called Neketsu Kunio-kun, if I'm not mistaken, or something therein. But, yeah. That one's also a classic. But it's not one I never got into about tonight, because we can only talk about 5+1. Yeah, I remember for some reason that one never really registered with you, but, it happens.
All right, Mike, so hit us with your next one.
Let's see. Anyone who knows me knows that I rant about this game too much. Like, if I want to talk about, I babble about this one too much. If I want to talk about, what's a good NES action game that no one's really heard of, I just point straight to fucking Vice Project Doom, aka Gun Deck in Japan, which is basically futuristic Ninja Gaiden with occasional scenes based on Spy Hunter and Operation Wolf. This is the best way.
Pretty accurate description, actually.
Yeah, well, ironically, while I've changed my avatar to be Nightshade, normally I am that game's protagonist, Quinn Hart, who I feel like he was modeled after a specific actor, but I can't remember who off the top of my head. But yeah, Baddie Knows Vice is an awesome game. It just controls so butter smooth,
it does,
say the least.
It totally does.
Yeah, the game controls just like a dream. Like 90% of it plays rather akin to Ninja Gaiden or like a really fast Castlevania. Your main weapon is even what appears to be a laser whip, which is so fucking cool. Or some it's a laser something, whatever it is. It's very good for kicking mutant ass, apparently. But yeah, the game actually starts off on a driving shoot 'em up segment, which, like I said, is akin to Spy Hunter, and that is very funny. Funnily, a interesting note to start out on, I think. And at the end of stage 4, you go through a first-person light gun-esque sequence. I don't think you can actually use the NES zapper for this one, but it's not too lengthy, so that's not a giant problem. But I do think that those other action scenes are actually pretty interesting, even though there's only 2 of them each, and the other 2 are near the end of the game. So the brunt of the game is the side-scrolling action, but action platformers of this vein are just like my fucking bread and butter. Like, there are other games like this that I also really love, like Shatterhand and Power Blade, but for some reason Vice always seems to be the one that jumps to the top of my head, and I can't tell you exactly why. Maybe it's just because the game controls as well as it does, like I've mentioned. It also has a pretty neat and weird sort of futuristic style that, not unlike Ninja Gaiden, also has a very bizarre gaggle of enemies that you fight. Like, I guess they're potentially supposed to be like mutants or whatever. But I remember like the first boss, or like the boss at the end of stage 2, is like this giant rat man that throws girders at you. And then the next stage you fight a apparently perfectly human like Korean wizard guy who spins around a staff and shoots fireballs at you. It's like, this doesn't make any sense to anything, but what the fuck? I'm enjoying it in the moment. So it's just a really neat, well-designed action game. I want to say, the developers were Acom, I think. Weren't they the guys who went on to make Pulsar on the Neo Geo? Or I'm confusing them with someone else. They're one of those like developers who you've probably played something that they've done, but it's hard to name them off the top of your head. But Vice also does have cutscenes like Ninja Gaiden. The story doesn't make a lick of sense, but I appreciate that the garnish is in there. Really, just the main focus in this one is that the action is just so deliciously fast. There's some cool bosses in it. The game is, for the most part, fair, although the final stage does have some pretty bullshitty platforming moments in it. But, hey, thank you for stopping in, Batty.
Yeah.
And yes,
and
I could talk about several of those. I actually beat Cowboy Kid, I think, just last year, and for being a blatant clone of Goemon, that one was really fun. But and Zaf has said Vice Project Doom is one of the most recommended minigame game campaigns there is in my experience. So, I almost wish there was one more driving and shooting scene each if I had to pick a criticism out. But besides that, and the fact that the final stage is kind of bullshit at some points. I scarcely have any complaints with Vice. It is just a solid freaking action game released in the NES's twilight years, and I highly recommend it to anyone who thinks they've played all the action games on the system, but if they haven't played this, then yes, play this, for God's sakes.
Yep, and have a good night, Batty.
Hey, yes, thank you for
Cheers,
stopping
Patty.
in. Take care.
Yep. And Sharon, that's a nice list of games. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, hey, Adventures of Lolo is another childhood favorite of mine.
Yeah, there are some solid picks in there. I will say that, yes.
Yeah, I've played both Rad Racers. I got very close to finishing the first one, but I just couldn't cut the final stage, and I felt sad that I couldn't, but well.
You mentioned Xerxes, which I did not expect.
That's actually a game I considered talking about tonight myself, but it didn't make the final list, so. But that one is pretty solid.
And that's also, Zafiro, that's interesting to know about Epic the Musical. I'm going to have to talk to my youngest stepdaughter. She likes Greek mythology herself, and this sounds like something that would be right up her alley.
Yes. And Batson and Bell Tower mentioned a weird Bible adventure cartridge that their friend loved.
Jeez. Oh, no.
Was it powdery light blue, this cartridge?
Yes, that's the question.
Oh, Jesus.
Wisdom tree. Wisdom tree. Wisdom tree.
We should have had that in our list. No, I'm kidding, but
it looks like a good tree for my dog to piss on. I don't even own a dog.
Yeah, it's too bad you weren't here for the religion and gaming stream. We did talk a bit about Wisdom Tree.
Yeah, and how much they sucked. But,
yeah. But what do you expect?
Yeah.
They're the Christian rebranded Color Dreams, who also suck.
I have gone through my life playing much more Master Chew and the Drunkard Who than anyone should ever fucking know. I almost considered that one as my guilty pleasure. Oh, oops. Hang on. I don't want to spill the beans. Never mind.
Well, since you spilled the beans, let's just go ahead and say here, Mike has spilled the beans. We will also be listing a guilty pleasure of ours. One each. So you'll hear what those are.
We're going to save those for last?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see what's appropriate for it, but yeah.
And let's see. There was something else I wanted to say as well. Mike, you talk too much sometimes. No, seriously. The question is, Jay.
Oh, of course I do. Yeah.
Well, I haven't had to give you the duck yet, so.
That's cool.
Exactly. So, Jay,
excuse me.
Any thoughts on this one?
Yes. So I have played this a while back. Never finished it, and I've been wanting to go back to it. I know it looks cool. I like the gameplay. I like the different styles, like having the whole Spy Hunter-ish thing, and then you're actually going into the side-scrolling stuff that we know and love about the NES. And I want to finish it, so I will go back to it. I just never finished the game, so I don't have a full opinion, but it was fun the last time I played it. So I will go back to it soon.
Yeah. It is definitely worth playing to the end, although, like I said, that final level is mean, so just steel yourself in advance. It can be a toughie, but it is very much worth it.
I mean, I can almost know that's from Ninja Gaiden 3, and I'm sure it's going to be
solid
that kind of level.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm used to those kind of games back then.
And if I'd had more of my wits about me when I was making these backgrounds, I would have put him in there. But as you pointed out, Mike, you're using him as your avatar, so not tonight, but usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you would have been a perfect sprite to fit down there, along with my usual avatar, who's the Kabuki Quantum Fighter. Anyway. What do I think of Ice Project Doom? I think it's really freaking cool. So
there we go.
I like it quite a bit. So I guess we're back to me, huh?
Yep.
All right, time to bring up the one oddball out of the my lesser known favorites. Anyone here familiar with Desert Commander?
I actually am, but yeah,
It was.
I am. Yeah.
What about you, Jay?
I have to look. It sounds familiar, but I don't think. Okay. Oh, I remember. I recognize the cover. No, I don't. I don't recall playing this too much. Maybe one. But yeah. Okay.
It was one of the basically only real-time strategy games for the NES. I think I latched onto it because when I first played it, it was back during that day when I was trying everything. And I like the fact you can finish the campaign in 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bonus, yeah. That's fair.
And basically, you're playing the role of some unnamed army commander in some unnamed army fighting in some unnamed desert against some other army guy who's also unnamed and his unnamed army in the same unnamed desert. Well, what Mike was mentioning something about guerrilla war earlier and what it was known as outside the U.S., which was Guevara. And it was about Che Guevara and Fidel Castro overthrowing the Batista government in the 50s in Cuba. But that was changed to Generic Soldier Guy 1 and Generic Soldier Guy 2 fighting on island to hail the heroes of the revolution.
Yep.
Actually, no, Logan, and by the way, welcome. We're not actually talking about Famicom games tonight.
Hey, Logan.
Not tonight, but Lagrange Point is one I feel I should get on at some point.
And Zafiro called it. Yeah, the Japanese version of Desert Commander is actually titled Desert Fox, etc., etc. And you are playing Erwin Rommel, fighting against the British in North Africa in World War II.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Wait, Sharon, rocket ship game? You know how many games in the NES featured rocket ships? I mean, unless you're talking about like what's that one? Rocket Ranger?
If she's talking about one that I think she is, that's actually one I think I'm going to talk about. We'll see if it ignites a few ideas anyway.
Well, Desert Commander is fun. I've actually finished both the American and Japanese versions. And the American one, you just get a generic letter of congratulations from your unnamed leader. In the Japanese one, you get the personal thanks of Der Fuhrer himself.
See you, Mo. Have a good night. Thank you for stopping in. Much appreciated.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, Mo.
Always great to see you.
Yeah.
Cheers, Mo.
But, you know, you got your basic, you got your anti-aircraft guns, your, cannons, a couple different kinds of planes. There's bombers and fighters, there's tanks, troop transport trucks, and the action figure storage vehicle.
Yeah, I appreciate the cheap Homestar / cheap commando pop there.
Yeah. I didn't say the Rocketeer, Sharon. I said Rocket Ranger. Different game entirely.
You mean the Justice Rocket backpack Reynolds Rocket?
That's the one. No. But I think Clash of Demon Head isn't obscure as it used to be, though it may have fallen back into that. But with all the Scott Pilgrim stuff going on, I'm sure it's still a little more well-known.
That's the only reason why I didn't put that on my list. I was thinking about that one too.
Fair.
But Scott Pilgrim,
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, as far as you move your units, you try and protect your base, and you try to bomb the crap out of the other guy's base and win the war or the battle or whatever. All I know is that I was playing it when my girls were very small. My youngest, they're watching me play it, right? And I get to the point I've got the entire enemy camp surrounded, and I'm going to go ahead and just, bomb the enemy headquarters to nothing. And my youngest, who must have been about 2 or 3 at the time, she's like, "Yeah, Daddy, smudge the hat! Smudge the hat!" Because the base is represented by an officer's hat. It's like, smudge the hat, okay? Sure, I'll smudge the hat. Smudge it right to hell.
Yeah.
A NASA space shuttle project?
Yeah, that was a game that existed. Right. Space. That's right.
Yeah, we can't count Splatterworld.
Alas.
But yeah, the what was it? The band that Scott's a member of is named Clash of Demon Head.
No, his band is known as Sex Bomb.
That's right.
Clash of Demon Head is the name of a rival band. I think that's the one that his ex-girlfriend Envy who's the front woman for.
It's been ages since I've seen the movie, and I've never read any of the comics, so.
That's true. Also, hey, Eugene, what's up?
Eugene.
Hey, Eugene. Hey.
How's the writing going? Me, I'm taking a break.
Oh, yes. He really is.
Mm-hmm. Well, for tonight, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, it's okay to take a small break, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Clash of Demon. I've actually played the Japanese version of that too.
Oh, nice.
They're both very interesting. So
it is.
But anyway, saying what I have about Desert Commander. Let's see, Mike. Your thoughts?
From what I've played of the game, yeah, it is a pretty decent earlier strategy, military strategy title, and I'm not normally into strategy games, but one like this has a relatively simple interface is pretty cool to play now and again. It does in some ways almost feel like a precursor to the Famicom / Advance Wars series that would come later on the system. But yeah, I haven't played much of Desert Commander, but from what I have played, it is a pretty neat little title. But I do take a little bit of umbrage with Player One being the Nazis. So.
Only in Japan.
I know that doesn't really factor in when you play the game in the West. Yeah, if you think Rob is a big World War II buff, and he hates the Nazis just as much as most people everyone hopefully fucking should, but not everyone does, but I digress.
I grew up watching Indiana Jones.
So, if he says the game... Exactly. So if he says that a game is okay, despite the moral diddly-doos surrounding it, then, I trust him.
The genericness helps it.
Yes. That was actually... It was for the best that they filed off the serial numbers on that one. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
So... It's just the greens versus the blues in that one.
Yes, because, in the American version, your bases are represented by officers' hats, like I said. In the Japanese version, you're represented by the flags of your respective countries.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's a little more blatant with the Heist mein Tag, he's mein Tag.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Eugene, glad to hear you got some writing in this afternoon. So
yes,
nice,
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So, and Jay, you were saying something about Desert Commander, weren't you?
Oh, actually, I think I came across it like once. I remember the cover. I don't think I've ever really played it much. Mostly because at the time I thought it was too complicated. Like compared to playing normal RPGs or action games, then you get into like strat games. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. I don't remember very well at all. So
Like I said,
think
That's fair.
if I played it, it would have been like once. If I haven't played it, then I haven't played it. It doesn't look too familiar other than the cover.
well, if you give it a shot, like I said, you can actually finish a campaign in 15 minutes.
That's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like, these later RTS games that came about. So.
Play like Worms.
Worm, yeah, that is an obscure 1.5.
Journey to the Center of the Earth, or whatever the subtitle was.
It's right up there with Dino Wars, the destruction of Spondylus.
Spondylus? What the fuck is Spondylus? That's what I want to
It gets destroyed, whatever it is.
Well, sucks for them.
Yeah. All right, so let's circle back around to Jay then.
All right, so the next one for me is the fun little adventure that you can go on with this character named Mike, which is my avatar from the game called Star Tropics. Who, it's a nice little action, I guess RPG-esque in the vein of like the other Zeldas, not Zelda 2, but at least Zelda 1 and Zelda 3. And your primary weapon is your yo-yo, and you're going around from Tropic Island to each island. You have a little ship after a while. You get this little NES robot that helps you out. Fun game. It's great music. Story is just a little bonkers, but hey, you're you're a teenager trying to escape the islands with a yo-yo. But Nintendo Power sent Star Tropics for free.
Well, you made out better than the whole Dragon Warrior promotion.
That's pretty cool.
That's nice, yes.
Also, Logan said Digger. Are you talking about Digger T. Rock and the Legend of the Lost City?
That sounds familiar, too.
I remember stumbling across that one at a game store and going, I have never heard of this game. It's cheap. I'm going to buy it.
I know it's by Rare. That much I can say.
It's a fun little game.
Yeah, I like what I played of it, but I didn't play much yet, so...
Okay, how the heck did you manage to get both Dragon Warrior and Star Tropics, Eugene?
What the hell, man?
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But what I like about the game is you're fighting, like, I don't know, typical creatures of the area, like snakes and whatever. Then later on, you fight aliens. That's the main villain of the game. Like,
I'm not saying it was aliens.
But there is one little thing. There's one cryptic puzzle in the game. If I remember right, the instruction booklet, you need.
Oh yeah. Fuck.
It's a password.
Yeah, that one.
Like that.
The letter, right?
That, I believe so.
Yep.
What a sneaky little thing for the developers to do for that game. Beyond that, yeah, it's for the Napcom. Yeah, I remember now. Great. It's just a great little fun time with it, and it has a sequel too.
I remember seeing Zoda's Revenge in stores when the NES was being phased out. For a while, it seemed like the local Toys R Us, that was like the only NES game they had. Because every time I go in there, there'd be fewer and fewer of them, but there was always Zoda's Revenge.
I never finished the sequel, but it was pretty good too.
And Logan had to say here, kind of funny looking at all the reviews for Star Tropics back in the day, because everyone was just like 5 out of 10, poor man's Zelda.
Man, that's definitely missing the point of it.
Yeah.
Wow. Jerks.
Oof.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
first off, I enjoyed it more than Zelda at the time. These days, I'm not sure which one's better, in my opinion. But Still, though, 5 out of 10, really?
Yeah, that's pretty
Eesh.
harsh. That's kind of like,
I agree.
Yeah.
I remember Kurt Kalata talking about, he saw a review of Taito Legends 2 for the PlayStation 2. And he said the reviewer basically summed it up as, I've never heard of half of these games. 6 out of 10.
Sure knows.
Yeah.
Sure knows. Am I right?
More than 50% good? What? Without even
just-
knowing what they're like.
Nope,
Wow.
it was ridiculous. Huh. So that sucks you had to lose a letter like that. I wonder how many of them
Yeah,
still survive.
I was gonna say that seems like something they weren't really thinking about the future with.
Yeah. But what Logan said here sounds nice, at least when they did the Virtual Console and the Wii, they replicated the letter thing by just having a message sent to your inbox. The wonders of
That is
technology.
pretty cool. Yeah, that is nice. Yeah.
At least I never finished Soda's Revenge EC. I didn't know there was like a boss rush in that one. Huh.
Oh, so it's just got water damage now. Okay, well, that makes sense. Thank you, Prime. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
games.
yeah.
Yep.
Just a quick sidebar on that. I never would have discovered one of my favorite weirdo arcade games, Genpei Tomaden, if it wasn't for Namco Museum Volume 4.
Same
that was
here.
an oddball I was very glad to learn about as a kid. So, I get a little tired nowadays of when something quote plays the hits unquote. I want the fucking deeper cuts, man. That's how that's what I like about albums nowadays too as well. It's like I could probably make like a Rush reference or whatever, but I don't want to draw this analogy out too much. But yeah, so whoever wrote that Tyro Legend 2 thingy, go jump off a cliff. I don't
Well,
why am I saying
let me
that?
give you a nice.
My brain's already kind of.
Let me give you a nice
Chelsea,
counterpart.
good
I'll give you a nice counterpart to what you're saying about discovering Genpei Tomaden, or I think as it was called here, the Genji and the Heike clans, or something like that.
Yeah.
There was two other.
It's definitely a mouthier title.
Yeah. There were 5 Namco Museum discs for the PlayStation released here. On every single one, I found a game I'd never heard of before, but I absolutely fell in love with. On Volume 1, it was, and Prime will know where I'm going here, because he already said, Bosconian.
Yes.
Yep.
Bosconian is fucking awesome. I'm really fond of that one.
On Volume 2...
Toy Pop's not bad either. I never would have heard that.
Yeah, it's like Gauntlet in a toy box. And on Volume 2, it was Gapless.
Yeah, Gapless is really good, and I came to like Dragon Buster quite a bit for all
Yes, that one too. And on Volume 3, for me, it was Fozon.
Fozon! Fucking A, Fozon. Love that game.
Mm-hmm. Volume 4, definitely Genpei Tomaden. And I also never played Assault either.
Assault's pretty goddamn good too.
Yeah.
Not sure if I ever beat it, but I like the style of it.
And on Volume 5, Valkyrie. The Legend of Valkyrie.
Legend of Valkyrie is awesome.
That game is great. And
very awesome on that.
You've been playing Murasame Castle, Eugene. Fun fact.
Awesome.
I have a small handful of Famicom Disk System games. That's one of them.
Oh.
Sweet.
Ooh. A distinct port of Bosconian different than the other one you already had. I am curious. So, anyway, though, back to what we were just talking about. Star Tropics. That one I never seriously played.
Oh.
I tried it out. It seems perfectly cromulent to me. very crisp and fresh. But it happened to come along at that particular time when I was exiting my let's try everything and maybe I'll find something really cool. I was settling into what became my established likes for games, and Star Tropics wasn't one of them. That it was the same thing with Crystallis.
Darn.
So they're
That makes sense.
both games. They're both good games. Don't get me wrong, but just not my cup of tea. And yeah, Logan, you must have found that on a Namco Museum because a game called Splatterhouse never got released for a Namco Museum. There was an arcade party
Not
pack
back.
that had it.
Not back in the day, no. But I think there were like later Namco museums that
I don't
had.
think there was the arcade party pack that has it on there, but it's not called Namco Museum.
My memory's rusting out here.
Yep. So that's pretty much all I can really say about Star Tropics. That, and I know that it's basically been totally overlooked by Nintendo of Japan.
Yeah, come on. You guys won't even give Mike Jones a sticker, you sons of bitches. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, Mike, though, it sounds like you have something to say about Star Tropics.
Yeah, I have played and beat it a while ago, and for the most part, I think it is a pretty goddamn rad action adventure. Like the unique thing about the first game is that it has this relatively more rigid, like tile-based placement with its movement. So, your positioning on the screen that you're on matters quite a bit more, since if Mike can't go in between the tiles before he can like make another move, he has to fully commit to a movement there. Some might think this makes the game feel a little more stiff. I thought it gave the game an interesting strategic bent that set it apart from the Zelda games with that weird little movement quirk that it had. And the game was definitely tough. It definitely did get difficult with some of its puzzles. Like, it has some pretty wicked enemies in there. I remember there being ghosts who were pretty annoying to deal with. My memory's pretty rusty. I forget most of the finer details, but for the most part, I remember having a lot of fun with Star Tropics. 3 caveats, though. 1, the third stage of the game is really brutal, I think, for as early on as you do it. And I feel like it should have been placed later into the game. Because, like, I think, yeah, like, you have to do an entire dungeon all over again if you run out of lives. And sometimes that can be a pretty brutal run back. So that's a little bit less merciful than I'm used to. Not to sound like a whiner, but yeah.
Also, before you go on, Mike. All right, Logan, I'll give you that. I just looked it up. And yes, the one Pog Graffiti is on the Archives Volume 1, I think it is. And Eugene, that does make sense that the best time to play Star Tropics is when you get it for free, and it's the only new game you have to play all summer. I could certainly see that.
That is fair. That is indeed fair.
All right, Mike, what's number 2?
The letter thing is definitely dirty pool, not just for being like a how's I supposed to know that moment, but also the whole matter of feelies, as they are known as, and the whole, copy protection thing that, I guess, it was trying to be more like a PC game in that sense, but not very future-proof with those things likely getting lost or destroyed in the aether, so that was kind of a dumb move on their part, if I do say so. And third criticism I had about it... Oh, balls. Fuck. I think I had another thing, but I don't remember what. The game is pretty tough all throughout, but for its quirks and for its foibles, I overall did really enjoy Star Tropics quite a bit. I think the sequel, Zoda's Revenge, is a bit of a step back because it gave Mike more freedom in his movement, but ironically, I think that made it feel less unique and a little bit more derivative of Zelda as a result. But Zoda's Revenge is still a pretty neat game that I think is worth playing. And, as one of the last NES games ever freaking made in 1994, it's one of the rare ones that belongs to that exclusive club. Yeah, it's also definitely worth playing. But if you only have to play one, you can just stick with the first.
And I remember when you...
And yeah, Prime, that was probably anti-rental bullshit with the feelies, with the letter.
Yeah.
That's a good point, right?
Yeah, it is.
I do remember seeing Zoda's Revenge for $5 on clearance. Of course, I also remember seeing Snatcher for the Sega CD on $5 at clearance.
Okay, Snatcher.
I remember. I remembered the one other criticism I had about Star Tropics. I swear, and Jay, see if you can back me up on this. There are a few moments in the game where you have to jump off the screen into like a new part of the map. There are a few bits where it deliberately has blind jumps that will have no platforms, so you instantly die if you didn't know about it in advance. That bullshit is... That sucks. That's just trolling. I don't like that crap.
I was going to say,
so it's unfortunate. Yeah, so you have to have some patience for some trial and error bits, which I definitely understand if not everyone does. That's sort of a hostile game design that, for better or worse, would not fly with video games today. But, like I said, for the bullshit it does pull, I do think Star Tropics is overall a very memorable and awesome little experience, very unique in its overall feeling, and that Nintendo just wants to bury it for some fucking reason I will never understand. They should be proud of that one, even if it was like an American production or whatever, but whatever.
And Logan,
they made their choice.
That reminds me of what Konami did with their Konami Antiques collections for the PlayStation and Saturn. For the Saturn, you get all the games on one disc. They split them into 3 for the PlayStation. I don't know why. So, all right. So
that's right. They did that PC.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Nintendo put Star Tropics in the NES Mini. Shit, I forgot about that. They acknowledged that.
No, at least they did.
I'm still baffled that it never got any representation whatsoever in Smash, though. I mean, come on. Imagine an assist trophy where Mike Jones pops bananas out of his ears and throws it and they explode when they do that.
Exploding bananas. Why
or it's yo-yo.
There's this running gag about how they keep asking if Mike got the bananas out of his ears. It's a weird little bit, but I think it's funny. Especially since, spoilers, it pays off because the last image of the game is him shoving bananas in his ears. That's like an observed little continuity bit I appreciate they commit to. But
they had to change the yo-yo weapon into a Morning Star because of the trademark infringement.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember that. That's goofy, but that sounds right.
All right, so let's say we go on to Mike's next pick.
My next pick is a little weird because it is actually technically an installment and or a spin-off of a somewhat famous name in video games. Although I guess it's mostly the first game that's famous. Some people probably didn't even know this one got sequels, for all I know. But that would be one of Capcom's last games on the NES, Mighty Final Fight. And since Prime's in the audience, I'm sure you'll appreciate the cheap pop, because I'm pretty sure he's a big Final Fight fan. So, I know, Eugene, I'm sorry that's how that worked, how ironic that is, that Jay is Mike and my guy is Nightshade. So, I apologize if that messes with your head, but it's just how it fell into place.
Yeah, if you rewind the stream to the beginning, I kind of referenced that at the beginning. I'm like, oh, I'm actually using Mike's portrait from the Star Tropics, and we have Mike using a whole different character. But anyway.
Nobody even
Anyway,
commented
but yeah.
on mine. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's Sergeant
True.
Quinn from Jackal.
Yeah.
Colonel Decker, Lieutenant Bob, Sergeant Quinn, and Corporal Gray. And then you never learn their names again because you're mostly just seeing everything from the Jeep. But, you know, I appreciate the garnish there. Yes, Prime does know Mighty Final Fight, and he knows it's a great game. Anyone that I know has played it thinks it's awesome. Mighty Final Fight is a I don't know if what you call like a spin-off, an alternate continuity, a reimagining, or whatever. It is an NES derivative of the classic arcade beat-em-up Final Fight, which unfortunately and infamously got a pretty shitty SNES port that cut out one of the stages, cut out one of the playable characters, and I would say most damningly it cut out 2-player support, but that is one thing I want to address up front about the 90s Final Fight. There's also no 2-player support in that game, so it's for some that might be a bit of a deal breaker, but I'm normally kind of a lone wolf, so I don't mind it in so much. At the least, it is an original game that, you know, isn't a bad port of something that originally had 2-player support, so it at least I think gets a pass on that factor of things.
Logan, Mighty Final Fight was definitely released here in the U.S.
Yes. In 1993, it was one of the last, if not one of the last NES games that Capcom released alongside Mega Man 6. Those might have been the last two for them, for all I know, actually.
Capcom didn't even release Mega Man 6. That was Nintendo.
That's right. Nintendo actually published Mega Man 6. That's fucking bonkers. Yeah, I forget how that worked, but that is something that totally happened. Anyway, but yeah, Mighty Final Fight, yeah, like Prime said, it's just a fun side game. It does, I guess, effectively retell the story of the first game, except everyone is now what would be known as, I guess, the chibi art style, so to speak. Small bodies, large heads, everyone looks cuter, but you know the same basic thrust is there. Mike Hagar's daughter, Jessica, gets kidnapped by the Mad Gears. It's up to him and his friends, Cody and Guy, to thrash all those Mad Gear punks and take her back. That gets you through 5 stages of Metro City, which I think they all share names with the levels in the original. There might be one or two that's new in there. I know that it ends at the Bay Area, which was the penultimate stage in the original. But Logan, there was actually this GBA collection where Mighty Final Fight was actually paired up with Bionic Commando and Strider, and was released to the Game Boy Advance. I think they were like adequately but not spectacularly emulated, as I remember. Definitely some screen crunch going on in there. I forgot how exactly that they ran. But oh yeah, Prime, that's a fun little thing I'll mention. But yeah, as Cody, Guy, or Hagar, you thrash your way through 5 stages, and there's a little bit of a mild RPG element going on. It's actually kind of akin to like the NES port of the first Double Dragon, where you get stronger as you beat up more enemies, and if you finish them with your grav moves, you tend to get a lot more you tend to get a lot more experience than just finishing them up with normal punches. Especially for Hagar, if you finish enemies with his trademark jumping pile driver, that gets a lot of experience, and he needs more experience, I think, than the others to level up, so you're really encouraged to do that. I know, like, Guy gets this double kick, and Cody gets, like, this projectile that he can do an uppercut with, which I think would later inform, actually, one of his moves in the Street Fighter series as well. So, They knew what they were doing there. Also, most of the enemies are like not like most like they have different names than existing Mad Gears, but there's one that's clearly supposed to be like Bread, one that's clearly supposed to be like Elgato. I think Poison is just Poison though, which is ironic that they were able to put her in this game when the SNES version censored her and Roxy and just made them generic punks by the name of Sid and Billy to not many people's pleasure. But
Before you go on, yeah, Logan.
but yeah, it is a
Logan, are you talking about the Rock Board game for the Famicom?
oh yeah, Wily's Paradise or whatever that one was known as.
Mm-hmm. It's basically a board game.
Yeah. I've only played a little bit of that one, but it seems pretty neat for what it is. Yeah, Mighty Final Fight. It is just a really solid playing beat 'em up. Like it feels really smooth, and for as much as I like Double Dragon 2 on the NES, that game has some bullshit stage moments. Oh, especially stage 7, the trap room. That level can lick my taint. Mighty Final Fight does not pull any major bullshit like that on you. It is mostly honest about what it does, and I think it's a relatively easy game to get into. Maybe it has a few tough spots, so the bosses can be fairly tough. And something that Prime mentioned is that the appearance of the final boss is different due to what happens in the original Final Fight. So it may be like something of a sequel after all, where the big boss of the Mad Gears, Belger, gets knocked out a window to well, in most adaptations in his death, but Mighty Final Fight instead has Belger revived, but half of his body is metallic now, so he becomes a cyborg because he got launched out a window, which is really funny to me.
Hey, quick question, Mike. I forget, did you say that also on that Game Boy Advance collection, Bionic Commando was on there?
Yeah, Bionic Commando and Strider. Yes, the NES Strider.
Yes. So, Logan, I will not tolerate any Bionic Commando slander in my streams. It's one of the best NES games.
I get you. Mm-hmm. He might not have been deliberate about that. I give him the benefit of the doubt, but
I'm kind of wondering what Zavera was talking about, the NES spin-off Faves thing.
I see. But yeah, my Final Fight, really cool game. Like I said, Prime can back me up on this one. It is just really overall solid, and I would say, even if it doesn't have 2-player support, I think it is a fair contender for maybe the best beat 'em up on the NES. Not that it has a lot of other competition. Well, it's either that, Double Dragon 2, or TMNT 3, the Manhattan Project, but I'll consider that like a holy trinity of NES beat 'em ups that are all worth playing. So, oh yeah, Prime. I know exactly what you're fucking talking about. Zombie Belger, the final boss of the fighting game Final Fight Revenge. What the goddamn fuck with that? That's just wow. Yeah, exactly. Prime and I could probably talk Final Fight all night, so if you guys have any comments on Mighty Final Fight, you should probably just go for that now.
I like Mighty Final Fight. I think it's a great game, and you can play as guys, so hey.
Jay? Yeah, that is definitely something that it has over the shitty SNES version.
Mm-hmm. And Eugene does have a point. Jay and Silent Bob's Mall Brawl is good fun.
I didn't get around to playing that one yet, but if you guys recommend it, then yeah, I should sometime.
I'll have to check it out too.
Oh, okay, it's fair enough.
But Mario. Original franchise games you didn't know were on it. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, Minor Final Fight, good game. Enough said.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I never finished it, but I like the whole chibi side of it. It's like a chibi version of Final Fight, but And Final Fight 1, I believe, is only a one-player game too, which is kind of weird for a beat 'em up, but still.
On the Super NES, it is, but I know in the arcade and other ports, you can actually play 2-player.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking of the Super Nintendo one, but no, good game. No complaints on that. I enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Yeah, so good game. So I think I will move on to my next choice now. And, okay. I have to admit that I'm not really a fan of British game design. However, there are exceptions. No. There are definitely exceptions. And this one, I really like this one. I can't say the same for the sequels, but Wizards and Warriors I always thought was a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Sequels just were not the same. So, what to say about Wizards and Warriors, though? You play this knight trying to rescue a princess from an evil wizard. And you have to travel through this big, sprawling underground once you get out of the forest to reach Castle Ironspire, where the wizard Malkil is with the princess. And along the way, you rescue several other damsels in distress from different bosses, like a giant flying skull and a skeleton who starts off really tiny, but the more you hit him, the bigger he gets. And there's also these cool
Castlevania ass boss there.
Yeah, and there's also these really cool looking ice guys in one of the caverns. They just kind of pop out of the ground and roam around for a second. They go back in, and they just pop up under you when you least expect it. But you get all sorts of neat things in the game, like the Feather of Featherfall, and the Dagger of Throwing, and the Boots of Kicking.
Feels very Monty Python, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yep.
It does kind of have a Monty Python feel to it. But it's also kind of serious, too. And there's not much of an ending, though. You rescue the princess, and it's like, thou hath rescued thy princess. Thy quest hath ended.
Congratulations, the end.
Oh, at least there's something on screen opposed to just text. Yeah. But it's a fun little game. It's very easy to complete because you have unlimited continues. But, there's some people who would struggle with certain parts of the game. Like there's one part where you have to ride these lava bubbles up, and you only ride them so far before they pop. So, yeah, that too. But they did 2 sequels and actually another one on the Game Boy, which I think is the most like the original NES game, but we're not talking about that. Iron Sword and Kuros Visions of Power. And honestly, I feel the quality just went down with each sequel. Like, Iron Sword looks lush, but the gameplay is not as good as the original. And then 3 opens it up by letting you change into different classes and stuff. Like you have a thief and a wizard and other stuff. But it's incredibly stupidly difficult. They were supposed to do a... Yes, there definitely is, Prime. Holy hand grenade. Some reading from the Book of Armaments.
Oh, Monty Python.
Exactly.
1, 2, 3, 6. 5, sir. But
oh man.
Anyway, I'm surprised there's not a rabbit that attacks you in the game. Run away! Run away! Oh, you didn't want to listen to me about the rabbit, did you? Oh no.
Oh man, just classic.
But yeah, Rare, they actually had some really good stuff on the NES, but they also had some crap.
Well,
I got to give them points for trying, though. And I know Michael will give him plenty of points for Cobra Triangle.
Fuck you.
I didn't say what kind of points you were giving him, Mike.
Shit points.
Exactly.
Trauma points. I'm never beating
Demerit
this
points.
game because out of spite points.
Yes, Eugene,
Should've
you
called
remember
it
the
demerit.
power team. And but you know, for every time I bring up Cobra Triangle, just try and console yourself by thinking of RC Pro Am.
That game is pretty solid. It has similar DNA to Cobra Triangle, but it just feels less malicious overall. So, yeah.
Yeah. Rare lost me when they did Donkey Kong Country. So
You and Prime have a few things to say about that game. Not to get too far off the beaten path, but yeah.
and Zavero, no one's brought up Solstice yet. And
I will say this. I did consider talking about Solstice tonight, but I ultimately settled on another British game, which you'll find out in a bit.
yeah. And the music in that game is great though. And there's
yes.
a really good interpretation of the title screen theme. It's actually performed on real instruments. I forget who did it, but he's a famous guitarist, I think. Not like everyone would know who he is, but he's been in a couple of bands. It's on YouTube somewhere.
Yngwie Malmsteen?
Not him.
Just checking.
Yeah, Logan, it's actually not as confusing and as obtuse as you might think it is. Yeah, you get into the sequels, yeah. Then it gets that way. Oh, come on, Prime. You know what we're talking about here.
Okay, if he doesn't want to, I won't coax it out of him, but yeah. Did you? Okay, I guess you didn't ask me about the game yet, so carry on. I don't want to steal your email thunder.
Mike, someone hates Cobra Triangle more than you, according to Eugene.
A streamer cracked his webcam. Jesus Christ. I didn't do that badly when I streamed. I just broke down in a Joker laugh when the game really screwed me over. Zafiro was actually there for that one too. It was kind of serendipitous. Like I have video evidence that Cobra Triangle is a bullshit game that hates you and wants you to die, but you know, I got caught on Twitch, so you know, there's a victory to be had there at least.
Didn't you fry the monster and the monster fried you?
More accurately, the timer fried me. But
That's
yes.
right.
That fucking sucked ass. It was great.
Yeah. So, before we get too carried away with talking about Rare here in general, let's see. Yeah, you know, RC Pro Am 2. That was a good game. I still like the original better. But anyway, Jay, what do you have to say about Wizards and Warriors?
Very, very fun game. I don't think I've ever really finished it. If I have, it would have been a long time ago when I was a kid. But I did like the animation of the sprite. I thought it was really cool. So very unique platforming on it, and the humor of it seems pretty spot on Multi-Python, which is a bonus for me. I just genuinely enjoyed the game. Like I said, I don't think I've ever finished it. If I have, it would have been a truly long time ago, but highly recommended from what I remember of the game. So, yeah, there's that.
Mike?
Yeah, Wizard Warriors is a pretty damn solid title. I do think that first stage is a little rough with like the large inclines that you have to carry, and the platforms were really small, but I think it finds its footing after you get out of that one. And yeah, it is a fun little title, some adventure, some fun action, just some really neat overall style in it. And yeah, I do agree that the sequels just missed the mark. Two things about them. One, they tried to overcomplicate the relatively simple formula that the first game had. And B, they gave you limited continues. The first one is actually a rare game. Let's see what I did there. Which actually gives you infinite continues, and I appreciate that it does because it makes the game feel breezier, almost chill to get through. Being able to buy continues, yeah, Logan, I agree that was since like the second, third games had like shops. That's something that they at least could have done to at least be more civil instead of giving you nothing and telling you you'll like it. But the sequels, they have interesting ideas, but ultimately you really only ever need to play the first one, and it's probably for the best that you just ever play the first one. So
yeah, I feel the same way. All right, anyway, all that said about Wizards and Warriors, why don't we just keep the rare train going here with Jay's final pick?
Well, fun little story on this one on how I got this game going. There was this game called Dr. Mario. This is not the pick. That I had originally bought, but colorblind at the time. And as I got through the game a little further, I was having a tough time playing it. So I stopped playing that, and then I went over to my friend's place, and he had this neat little game where you get to play these snakes, bite things and eat it, and make your tail longer, and it's called Snake Rattle and Roll. I was floored by this game. I was like, I want this game. I want to play it. And he's like, you know what? I'll trade you for that Dr. Mario, and I know you don't want to keep. Sold. So I enjoyed this game a lot. I love the music. I love the style. I love everything about it. It's just a very cool platformy game, but in isometric style. It's not an easy game by any stretch.
Oh no!
But I like the idea that you're using your your tongue to progress in the game. It gets progressively harder as the game goes along, but I just like the idea that if it wasn't for the fact that I had Dr. Mario, I would not have owned this game at the time and really got into it. I'd never finish it because it's so hard later on, but it's just one of those hidden little gems that most people don't really talk about from what I've seen. And I don't know. It's just I can't. There's no complaints other than the fact that it's hard. It's a hard game. I don't know. I don't know what else I can say about it. It's a very colorful game too. One of their best on the NES, in my personal opinion. So,
yeah. Here's a fun fact for you, Jay. Were you aware that Rare actually re-released Snake Rattle and Roll for the Mega Drive in Europe?
I think I've heard of that, but I've never played it.
Yeah, it's just they basically did what they did with Battletoads and I think RC Pro-Am, and it looks slightly better, but it essentially plays exactly the same.
Oh, that's kind of cool. What am I looking at it just to see? But that's really neat.
Mm-hmm. So, Mike, what do you think of Snake Rattle and Roll?
Another surprising childhood favorite of mine that I grew up on. I actually kind of fucking love this game. It's got a really bouncy and jazzy style to it. I guess they wanted to really go with the shake, rattle, and roll pun and just make like the first stage kind of like a like it has that sort of bouncy like 50s music feel to it. Yeah, very colorful, fantastically sort of like abstract in its overall stage design, and like you keep getting attacked by large disembodied feet for some reason, which is weird. The game feels a little bit drugsy in its overall influence, but that only makes me like it all the more. It is a crazy title with some pretty solid mechanics, getting the little pibbles to get your snake large enough so that they can weigh in to open the exit gate, which I always thought was an interesting way of opening the exit. All the bonus stages with the little pibblies that you got to get in time, and some of the pibblies themselves like sprouting wings or legs or whatever to try and get away with you. The game has almost like Looney Tunes-ish sort of sensibilities to how it's made.
Let me get this straight. So you're saying it's like that drug trip you saw in that movie when you were on that drug trip?
Yeah. Is that a Homer quote? I forget exactly.
You're close. It's a Fry quote.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And
All right,
hey,
Aris.
thank you for stopping in, Aris.
Yeah,
See you later.
Have a good one.
Hey, take care now. But yeah, I do agree though. The game gets bastard hard. Continues are limited, and the platforming does get really rugged. As soon as stage 4, that level just hates you. That's the one with like, I think it was like the anvils or whatever that pop up to try and impede your progress. Some stages are definitely worse than others. Somehow, I managed to beat this game once. I don't think I can replicate that feat nowadays. It is doable. It's just really, really fucking difficult.
That's like me and Predator.
Yeah. I'm surprised that you're actually not talking about Predator tonight, but...
I thought about it, but I opted against it.
That's totally fair. But yeah, I really like Snake and Rattle and Roll a lot too. Definitely one of Rare's better games on the NES, and it's... If I could beat it, that means it's not Cobra Triangle and it doesn't hate you. It is really tough, but because it is beatable, I think the game is actually pretty neat.
Now, I didn't know
so goes my simple logic.
I didn't know about this Game Boy Snake Rattle and Roll that Eugene's talking about.
I heard about it. It's like a side-scrolling platformer. Yeah, he said side-scroll. Yeah. I forget what it's called, but yes, I have heard about it. I don't think I have ever played it yet, though. But
I think I've heard of it, but I don't. Yeah.
It is interesting that it exists. Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, you should definitely give Wizards and Warriors a try, Logan.
Uh-huh.
Now,
first place not going. In a second, Jay scores a week's third. What? Thanks. I don't roll. Oh, I'm sorry.
That sounds like a reference to something, but the time zone thing. Wait. No, he's referring to a specific game, but I can't remember which one. I definitely heard that before. The time zone thing. Fuck. Oh, that's gonna bug me.
Learn.
Shit. What was it? Something. Another time zone. Was this a racing game of some sort? Oh god. Logan, please remind me what the Another Time Zone thing is from, because I fucking know this. It's just gonna scratch in my brain until I don't know. Anyway. You guys go on while Logan eventually tells me.
I owned Snake Rattle and Roll for a little while, and I thought it was fun, but insanely difficult.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting thrown into one of my purges I did a few years back. Actually, almost about 10 years ago now that I think about it. But I still fire it up every so often through other ways. So there you have it. That's about all I can say. Oh, Rock and Roll Racing.
I think Rock and Roll Racing, it might have been, yeah, but I'm not sure if that game had much speech to it, and for some reason I remember this being said out loud. But maybe it is that. Maybe it was that. Sneaky Sneaks. Yes. Yes, that's right.
All right. So, Mike, speaking of you, let's move on to your final choice.
It is really funny how this worked out, because all of our final choices are by Rare for some reason.
Not
how
mine.
The hell did that happen anyway?
Not mine.
Wait.
I still got one coming.
Oh. Well, we had... let me rephrase that. We each had one choice that was Rare. So
yes.
I didn't intend to make this the Rare Coin It podcast or what have you, but... they're interesting and weird. A very interesting and weird company. Ones that I think broadly, like, we don't love most of their games. We acknowledge they had some pretty neat cuts. And One I grew up on is a very, very interesting and extensive game that just has such a weird atmosphere, and there's only one other game like it that I encountered, but still, it wasn't like it. If any of you are familiar with Solar Jetman, that is a very interesting one that I grew up on, which has always captivated me for how much it really genuinely feels like a sort of weird space exploration planet game. It's apparently like they did another game before by the name of Jetman, and before that Lunar Jetman from like their ZX Spectrum days. That they're relatively straightforward, more arcadey, simple affairs where like you like mostly just fly around your jetpack and destroy all sorts of things flying at you. Solar Jetman plays very relatively little like them and goes to be like a sort of action adventure title. Eugene is familiar with the game. That's good. Premise is that you go through 12 planets, collecting treasure and doing your best not to die from the many cannons and terrestrial whatevers that are placed on every level. There is collision damage, Zafiro, yes. And you do go out in a jetpack if your ship gets destroyed. I always thought that was a really interesting lives system where your ship has this life meter. You get shields early on. You can't tow along items with shields, but they're very useful in surviving. If you, however, you lose all your life and your ship blows up, you then go out in your spacesuit and jetpack, and you have to try and get back to your mothership or your main base / warp ship to get your pod back for free. But if you die while you're in the Jetman suit, then that is a permanently lost life. So the game controls pretty weirdly. It controls like Asteroids almost, except that there's also gravity and inertia that you have to deal with. The physics of the game can be pretty weird, and some of the levels have deliberately heinous gravity to them. One stage even has reverse gravity, which is really fucking crazy. But yeah, your ultimate goal is to reach the warp portal. You need to get enough fuel for your home ship, and B, find the warp portal that gets you to the piece of the Golden Warp Ship, the main MacGuffin that you're trying to assemble. The legendary Golden Warp Ship was like this really cool spacecraft that was broken up into 12 pieces, and your objective is to go through the 12 planets that the pieces are scattered on, get each piece bit by bit, and go through all these crazy alien worlds and whatnot. And they do feel really alien. They have these really weird mood lightings to them. One stage is like entirely green. Another feels like it's almost like a sort of desert canyon. One level, I think, has some underwater bits in it where the gravity gets even wonkier. And yes, Eugene says when you're carrying ship parts, it's even harder to control because you're swinging the ship parts with a tether that also has its own sense of weight and inertia that kind of jags your own ship around. It is a real ask to try and get used to, and if you try to do all 12 planets next to each other, it is a really, really fucking long game. So you definitely have to use, I think, passwords to break it up. If you extract it over too long a period, it might kind of really draw out. But I remember beating it like over the course of 3 days, playing 12 planets, 4 planets each in the day, and I somehow did manage to beat it. There's this final shoot-'em-up stage that is kind of bullshit, and you only get one shot at it, so that kind of sucks. But it's a pretty goddamn fun ride until then. I just really like the atmosphere and the overall sort of design sensibilities of Solar Jetman. It's a very unique and interesting sort of action adventure type game. The only other game like it that plays the way it does is Subterranea on the Genesis, which has a similar sense of control and inertia to it. That one is much more of an action game, though. This one's more exploratory, more almost survivally almost, but yeah, it is a weird one. It might be a little bit of a hard ask for some to get into, but give Solar Jetman a shot. You might find something about it like I did.
Jay, you ever played this one?
Never even heard of it.
Ah.
Shit.
Well,
okay. Well.
I have played it myself. I have never cared for games that rely on inertia and gravity as their main gimmick. I always go out of control.
Yeah, it's the controls really take some getting used to, and if you're not willing to put up with them, I completely understand that being a deal breaker. This game is definitely not going to be for everyone.
Oh yeah,
it's just one of those ones that I grew up playing, and I guess it just kind of sunk its nostalgic claws into me. So
I will say for a while, until I played both of them, I always got Solar Jetman and Rad Gravity confused.
Rad Gravity has a little bit of stylistic maybe relation to it. Like you occasionally see, very occasionally, like in the intro, you see your player character who kind of looks a little bit like Inspector Gadget for some reason, and he also looks just a little bit like Rad Gravity with like the large chin, almost Bruce Campbell-y. But yeah, no, I can definitely see that confusing that. They are both spacey games, but one's a platformer and this one is not that.
I will tell you my initial dislike of gravity as being one of the main gimmicks in the game goes all the way back to Atari's Gravitar.
Oh, I remember you mentioning that one recently in a semi-pejorative context, but
yeah,
I forget exactly what you said about it.
I don't think Solar Jetman's a bad game. It's just not up my alley. And as far as Gravitar,
it's absolutely not going to be for everyone. That I fully accept.
Yeah, but as far as Gravitar is concerned, you're fighting all sorts of different gravitational forces depending on what planet you go to, and they released it for the 2600 too. I own a cartridge of that just because. That's kind of a weird one, actually. It was originally released in limited numbers in the mid-'80s and with the silver cartridge sticker, and then in the late 80s they re-released it as a red label game. So red label is obviously far more common.
That's weird.
So, but yeah. So, and as far as the inertia-based gameplay, like Vic Tokai like to push with games like Psycho Fox and Kid Cool and that other game. Oh yeah, Decap Attack.
Oh, I do like the Cap Attack quite a bit. Kid Cool kind of sucks though, but oh well.
I think that was the first of the three actually. But yeah, just never cared for those either. So we'll move along to my last pick then, and we're going back to Konami.
Of course.
Yeah, and it's a massive series in Japan, and we only ever got one entry here. And the series is Twinbee. Over here, the second game in the series, Moero Twinbee, was relabeled Stinger and released here. And when I first played it, I dismissed it as Kitty Gradius. I was wrong. It's actually quite a fun little shooter, and it's definitely Konami's main cute-em-up series before Parodius happened. In fact, Twinbee has shown up quite a bit in the Parodius series.
Yeah, and the collar bells that you get in those games also became a mechanic in the Parodius series.
Mm-hmm. And this comes from the first era of Twinbee, though, back when it was a little less defined. It's like the second era started with Daytona Twinbee, which was basically Konami's idea of doing anime-style Twinbee with heavily leaning towards the Studio Ghibli type of aesthetic. But the first go around was basically the original arcade Twin Bee and the Famicom port and the MSX port and all that. And then there was Moero Twin Bee, which was originally on the Famicom disk system and was later re-released as a cartridge. One of the only three disk system games that was, because the other two were Castlevania and Biomiracle Bukudupa.
Heavy.
And then they did Twin Bee 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then Daytona came out, and that started the new era up. But it took me a little while to warm up to Stinger, but when I did, I just got so attached to it, and that's how I came to embrace the rest of the series later on. So, yeah, but don't let its looks fool you, though. It can get tough. It's not the most difficult shooter ever, but the difficulty can spike on you from time to time. And the bell power-up is definitely an interesting concept. You shoot a cloud and a bell comes out, a yellow bell. You shoot the yellow bell a couple times, it changes a different color. I, to this day, still get confused as to what color bell does what. But I knew you can get options. Yeah, you can get options, you can get double shots, things like that. Stinger actually also has one thing unique to the Twin Bee games. Side-scrolling segments. So it was kind of doing what Life Force did before Life Force. Because you had your overhead, your side-scrolling. And in the side-scrolling segments, you actually can shoot a little heart out of the top of your ship that can also deflect bells. Overall, it's a fun little game. You ever play this one, Jay?
I don't recall Stinger per se, but I have played Twin Bee, so because those cartridges that had like 101 or whatever, they had Twin Bee, so I don't know if it was Stinger or it looks a lot like Stinger from what I was just watching there. But I remember getting the bell stuff and all that, so I don't know if I ever played a version of Stinger or just Twin Bee or something like that. But from what I see, it looks fun.
Yeah, chances are it's probably the original Twin Bee. It was smaller, it was on a cartridge, and it was easy for them to go ahead and clone.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, you should definitely give Stinger a shot then.
Yeah, I like a good shooter.
Yeah. And what about you, Mike?
I surprisingly haven't played Stinger very much yet, but since you made such a good case for playing it, I feel like I should definitely give it more of a shot someday. I do like the style of it, old-timey, old-school Konami as it is, and, being like sort of almost a very distant prototype to predecessor to Parodius, but no, somehow I have not played it as much as I probably should have. I have played more of the newer era Twin Bees, as you mentioned. Daytona, Poppin' Twin Bee, and Twin Bee Yahoo on the arcade. Those are all really solid games, but I could definitely do to bone up on Stinger more. And possibly also Twin Bee 3. I actually don't know too much about that one somehow.
I thought Poppin' Twin Bee and Twin Bee Yahoo were phenomenal.
They're fucking great games, yeah, absolutely.
Daytona I like, it just took me a little bit longer to get into that one.
That's understandable. It's not quite as advanced as Poppin' or Yahoo, but it's pretty good. Oh, Zach, we're not at the guilty pleasures yet, no.
We're about to. Yeah, we're about to get there. I'm going to call that one the lightning round.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's interesting what Twin Bee, it actually didn't just stick to shooters. There was Twin Bee Rainbow Bell Adventures, which was a platformer.
Yeah.
There was a Twin Bee RPG.
There was? What?
Yeah, it never left Japan.
I mean, I figured, but I didn't even know that existed. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it happened. And they, apparently, people over in Japan loved Twin Bee because they did, like, radio dramas and all sorts of stuff.
Wow, what the hell?
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
That's crazy.
So, it's like, you know how Goemon wasn't really well known outside of Japan. Twin Bee was right there with it. Sad,
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's fitting that they also both get represented in the Parodius series, which was also strictly Japanese, except for a couple that got to Europe, which I'm envious about that.
Yeah, and
Oh
Pop
well.
and Twinbee and Rainbowville Adventures also made it to Europe too.
God damn it. Oh well. I
Well,
guess Europe can have some nice things.
um, I'm about 90% certain there was a Twinbee RPG. I could swear I remember reading about it. I'd have to look it up though. Kurt would know for
No, I
sure.
mean, I believe it. It's just for what system?
It might have been on the PlayStation or the Saturn.
I see.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not 100%
Uh,
sure on it, but
the game actually is just called Twinbee RPG, as a matter of fact. So
well,
that's pretty
hey,
easy to remember, at least. There you go. There it is.
And it was on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really damned.
Oh,
that's just,
you we're both looking it up. That's fine.
that's just like how there was a Parodius strategy game.
Indeed. And hey, the Text Arc. You're welcome late into our stream. Thank you for showing up.
Yeah, hey, Texark.
Hey,
How's it
Text
going?
Arc.
So, yeah, it was the Paro Wars.
That's right. Right. Offshoot of Cosmic Wars, funny enough.
Which was Gradius's strategy game. And even Goemon had a puzzle game based on that Junction game.
Uh-huh.
Every tomorrow you have to guide him around the tracks. I did not like
Yeah. I hear it's kind of mediocre, yeah, unfortunately.
Very mediocre.
Alas.
Anyway, so yeah, we are going to go ahead and kick off the lightning round now. These are our guilty pleasures, the games that honestly kind of suck, but for some reason we like them. Whether it's just a case of nostalgia or maybe even Stockholm syndrome, I don't know.
Right.
Jay, you go first.
Oh God. It's a game that was in the arcades. It was very unique at its time. It guzzled up a lot of quarters. And then they did an NES port that couldn't emulate what they did in the arcade. So they made it into a side scroller. And it was called Dragon Slayer. I enjoyed the arcade version of that game. And I started playing the NES version, which was much harder than it should have been.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a tough time just getting past almost the first area just because of how cryptic it can be.
And slow.
It's not a good game. It's slow. Not a good game. But what I liked about it is that they did give it an attempt, even if it's not the best attempt in the world, trying to emulate what they did in the arcade version. The animation wasn't too bad to it, the sprite animation, that is. And if you can figure out some of the game, it's not the worst game in the world. So I never finished the game. Like, it's one of those that I would have to play it to probably the day I die to beat this one. But I don't know. It's fun. The music's pretty good. It's not the worst game I've ever played. I like it.
Eugene's got a point about the Japanese one.
It's almost playable, yeah. Isn't the Europe one as well? No, the PAL. I think the PAL version is a little bit more smooth, so it's not as bad, from what I've understood.
I have no comment on that one.
Yeah, no comment. It was not an easy one to find and figure out what would have been a guilty pleasure for me, and I thought, well, I'd say Dragon Slayer because I kind of like it. It's okay. Not the worst one I've ever played. There's a lot worse games for the NES library compared to this one. there's better games for sure,
Oh yeah.
but yeah.
And your thoughts, Mike?
I did play a little bit of it, and I somehow managed to get past the first screen. That in itself was a Herculean ordeal that I'm not sure if I care to replicate. And of course, I ate shit pretty quickly afterward in whatever the next area was. This one is bad. Very bad, I gotta say. But I can see why it at least has some sort of weird charm going to it. Especially if you were a fan of the arcade original, it at least does get the style pretty well down pat, if nothing else. But oh boy, gameplay wise, it's just so sluggish. Although, yeah, I do agree, it is at least an interesting game. I think it has more going for it than the really bad version of Space Ace on the SNES. If you're familiar with that one, that one is oogly, but it is interesting, if not good. Yes.
All right. So, Mike, how about your guilty pleasure?
The Simpsons Bart versus The Simpsons Bart versus the Space Mutants. One of several games by the infamous Imagineering, aka the company that David Crane and Gary Kitchen founded after the 2600 days, who made games somehow of generally not amazing quality. And they always had the same damn sound bank that they used. That damn extra live chime. They were all... So many of them were like each other. I don't know what happened there. Same sound design as A Boy and His Blob. A Boy and His Blob at least has some degree of merit to it, I think. Bart versus the Space Mutants is just kind of whack, though.
I've met David Crane and Gary Kitchen. I could not bring myself to ask them about the Simpsons games.
That is understandable. they are both game design legends, and I don't want to crap on them for their Imagineering era. I guess they just couldn't really. They just didn't adapt so much to the time of games. So yeah, I don't want to hold it against them. I do have a bit of nostalgia for Bart versus the Space Mutants because it is a Simpsons game. I'm a giant Simpsons. They rarely had many good games outside of the Konami arcade one. But this one, I think, at least tried to be interesting. It's a kind of an action platformer, and the premise is that you're supposed to, gather up or, ruin a certain amount of things that the aliens are supposed to get to power their weapons. And the first stage is at least nominally interesting because the aliens need to gather purple objects, which is weird and vaguely vague in its design. I don't even want to question the logic of that, but you have to basically spray paint or find other ways to make purple objects and signs not purple. And that is actually pretty nominally interesting, I think. But I kind of feel that this game just kind of blows its load in the first level, and everything else is really not as innovative. You're just collect hats in the shopping mall in the next stage. One of them, you have to get exit signs in the museum, and the platforming just gets worse as you go on. There's this weird bullshit control scheme where you have to hold the B button to jump farther, but that's not the same. It's the same button as the jump button or something. I forget. There's some weirdnesses to the control. It feels kind of sloppy overall. The game sometimes feels like it's kind of bullshit in its design. Bart can only take 2 hits and 3 lives before he gives up. I guess you can get more lives later. It is an interesting mess of a game. Somehow one that I was at least attracted to enough to try and beat it at some point. I don't know why or how I did that. I only have so much tolerance, though, because there's a sequel to this one called Bart versus the World that basically has the same control scheme, and I just could not get into that one. That one was a bridge too far for me.
Yeah.
But Space Mutants, for what it is, I think it's almost interesting for how much of a mess it is. And it is very much a mess. If you're a big Simpsons fan, maybe take a quick look at it, but you don't have to dive in as deep into it as I did. So, yeah.
Wasn't there Bartman meets Radioactive Man too?
That was
Yes.
also one that Imagineering did, and by all accounts, that one also sucks. I don't actually. I might have rented it once, but I don't remember a lot about it. So
Well, as long as the arcade game exists, I don't even need to think about those other ones. And that's all I'm going to say about
it
Bartman
is
the Space Mutants.
true. Yes, that is true and fair of a point. Yes,
Yeah. What about you, Jay?
I'm just gonna say, don't have a cow, man.
that's the spirit. Oh yeah, and every time you lose, you always hear Bart saying, "Eat my shorts" with a digitized sound clip. It's actually a pretty decent voice clip, at least for what it's worth. But
Well,
yeah,
that's good at least. I do remember that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst game in the world, but there's so much jank, especially with the jumping mechanism in that. If you want the super
Mhm.
jump, you have to hold the B button, or it's weird how they did it. I'm like B and A or A B. It's they did it strangely in that.
Yep. Yep.
The first stage was kind of interesting, like you're saying, and then the aliens are just like throw everything out the window, and they're like, "Oh, we'll try with that this time, or we'll try with that." Like, if you could do it with anything in the world, almost, what's the point now? But I don't know what else I can say that you haven't already said. It's an interesting game, definitely heavily flawed, and
I
I don't know.
I do have to say, let us all please have a moment of silence for Eugene's summer he'll never get back.
God damn. Oh well.
Uh,
Sometimes that's just how it be.
I tip my hat to you, EC.
oh boy. All right, so let's go on to the final game, which would be my guilty pleasure. I will say, when I was originally going to get an NES, I would look at the games in the store. And one day, one game in particular caught my eye. It was proof that one of my, if not my favorite series from the Atari era, was going to go ahead and continue on into this new era. And the cover looked awesome. Loved the picture on the cover. And I knew I had to get that game. It was Super Pitfall. Well, I didn't
Yep.
get the game until many years later when I found it used somewhere. And when I did, I'm so glad I didn't pay full price for it. Created by those purveyors of quality, Micronics, for Pony Canyon in Japan. The game is a bastardization of Pitfall 2: The Lost Caverns, which is the greatest Atari 2600 game ever made. And it is, you want to talk about jank? This is the jankiest of the jank. It's just, oh no, 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 Eugene, no, never beat it. No way. Predator, yes. Super Pitfall, no. This is one of those games, though, where it's like you're looking for items you need, and instead of, say, maybe finding them in a cavern off to the side somewhere, they're freaking invisible, and you gotta jump around and try and find the stupid things. Same thing with ammo for your gun sometimes. And why is Pitfall carrying a gun anyway? I don't get it. But
Did you call him Pitfall? Just Pitfall, not Harry?
yeah, force of habit from when I was a kid.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah.
John Pitfall.
Pitfall Harry. The worst thing is, though, is that he looks he's wearing like a miner's outfit, which is kind of a couple different shades of blue and green. And when he jumps and just how he looks in general, it looks like Super Mario. I actually did a comparison when it's the original Mario sprite and the Super Pitfall sprite side by side. They look identical.
Like even when he hits up, when he's jumping. Yeah, so true.
We don't know, Zafiro. We just don't know. I should have asked David Crane that when I met him. Oh, yes, it is so broken in that game. Collision detection is borked. This game is just not good on the NES. I've never actually played the PC-88 version. I have played the TRS-80 version, though, and it's just as bad, but with no music. Not that the music in Super Pitfall is anything to write home about. Honestly, though, at least some dedicated people got together and did this 30th anniversary edition of Super Pitfall, and it actually makes the game playable.
Yeah.
There's that.
So, now that I've gotten that out of my system, Jay, what do you think of Super Pitfall?
I keep thinking about the EVGN's episode of it now, but like literally the first pit, isn't it? You go down, you can die right away. Like
just blind drops, basically.
That's the name of the game. It's a trial and error game. Like you said, you're going to jump around to find the items. It is a weird game. I don't know what to make of it.
It is so
I never
weird.
finished it. Yeah. It's not a good game. But hey, I know some people like it.
I don't know who any of them are, but David Crane's just owned it completely. I mean, he had nothing to do with it, but it still was using his characters. So, Mike, how about you?
To riff on something that Logan just mentioned, more like pooper shitfall, am I right? The Reverend Spooner would have fun with this one. Yeah, game sucks. I obviously didn't get very far in it. Granted, I don't think I ever took it seriously either, but like it's... Oh boy, it is a rough fucking cut of a game that... that anniversary edition is pretty damn neat, at least. I can't say it's probably not better than Pitfall 2 in that form, but I appreciate the effort that they at least go to in making it presentable, even changing Harry's sprite and actually giving it the music from Pitfall 2 as well, which I thought was a cute touch.
Yes.
But there's
Logan, I think, is right. I think that is NES Rocks who did that.
Yeah. That name does sound familiar. The 30th Anniversary Edition, give that one a look. Mm-hmm. The original sucks. Just do not play it. The PC 88 or 98 version was mentioned. I remember seeing that at some point. It looked interesting, but the NES version of this, total crap. Avoid.
Yeah. And Logan, I can only recommend you one game for the TRS-80. Just one. The game is called Downland. Look it up.
I can recommend you Hunt the Wumpus, also.
Was that on the TRS-80?
I think it was. It was on something TRS related, although I don't quite remember what. But I feel like it was, or something some such.
And I played Downland when I was a kid. I thought it was great. It's basically an exploration game that takes place in a series of caves. It can be kind of difficult, though, because of the way the TRS-80 joystick is non-centering. Crane made some good games, though, Logan. The first two Pitfall games for Atari are still just fantastic. And Freeway was fun. That depends on which version of Ghostbusters you're playing, and I like A Boy and His Blob, so yeah, anyway. But so that wraps the whole thing up as far as our favorite lesser-known NES games. So I think we covered some pretty good stuff here tonight, and some pretty bad stuff.
Name of the game.
Space Super Pitfall Dragon Slayer. And what makes Super Pitfall a guilty pleasure for me is that every so often I will come back and play the original.
there.
I think it's
Yep.
just having been around it for so long, and I've got Stockholm Syndrome now.
Yep. That's how it is sometimes.
Yep. Solstice.
Oh, Zafiro. I actually considered talking about Solstice tonight. But as far as covering a British game went, Solar Jetman ultimately won out, since I don't think I would have had as much to say about Solstice. It's a good deal more straightforward in how it is, while Solar Jetman is like long and such. But I do really like Solstice quite a bit. Equinox isn't bad, but I petered out halfway into that one. It can get pretty wicked, but it is what it is.
But
Solstice, that's that isometric game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I remember that now.
And the sequel was Equinox on the Super NES.
Uh-huh.
And Logan, say what you will about Harris Scott Warshaw, but he also made Yar's Revenge.
Yep.
And Sharon, I think you're kind of stretching the definition of good game with Time Lord. I love the concept. I'm not crazy about the execution.
Good aesthetics, good music at least, if nothing else.
Yeah, this is true.
Time Lord game.
So anyway, I do not know when we're going to be streaming again or what the subject's going to be, because as of tomorrow, I will be writing more. I have completed the rough draft for Nothing Man. I am moving on to Better Man. So, Nothing Man has to go through some editing, obviously, but I've been advised to leave it alone for about a month and just not look at it. So,
okay,
yeah, that way I can come back when we start the editing. I can look at it with fresh eyes.
Okay.
So, but something I've been saying in different places recently is that, yeah, I haven't really said much about what Nothing Man is about. And I know a lot of people who know me think it's probably some kind of sci-fi epic or, horror slash-a-thon or something like that. It's a love story. Bet you didn't see that coming.
What a twist!
Yeah, what a twist indeed. It just takes place in the 90s, and it's kind of inspired by a lot of stuff that myself, friends of mine, and other people I knew, stuff that happened to us. But completely fictional and inspired by these events. With original characters, and you're not going to see a lot about video games in these books. You're not going to, nothing like that. This isn't like another... You've never heard of Yar's Revenge, Logan? Yes, that was an Atari game. That was one of the best ones I've ever played. But I can't go into too much more without giving away the plot. I will say, though, there's a good chunk of it revolves around music from the early 90s. Not in, getting into, like, the bands at the time and what they were doing, but just... the people who were listening to the stuff. Like me and my friends were. So, if it all sounds confusing, it'll all make sense when you finally get to read it. How about you guys? Any interesting projects you got going on?
Just the usual stuff. Streams. Typical.
Okay. And Mike?
Well, I did say, I think last time, I wanted to work on a book chronicling my overall thoughts and experiences with the game Doom and its many incarnations. I have not written a single word about it this week. Work's been kicking my ass, unfortunately, and I just haven't felt very inspired to write much about it. But unlike other more less focused and more throwaway ideas that I've had for attempting to get something else started and then just put it in the trash can, I still feel like I'm at least somewhat devoted to this concept, and regardless of how much I do now, it is something that I think I want to do someday. It's like there's this guy on YouTube goes by the handle Mount Pain 27, who has his own Doom show called The Dean of Doom, where he looks at many different Doom levels and all the crazy things that's been done in the engine. He ranks, actually grades all the stages that he likes and doesn't like, but he just finds it really interesting for like what everyone has done with Doom. And he has some pretty deep thoughts occasionally, which sounds kind of doofy for Doom of all things, but it is a game that does provoke some very interesting reactions that I also want to try and get into what I think about it and my own thoughts and sort of love and hate relationship with the game. And God, I hate Revenants so much. I fucking hate those goddamn skeleton assholes. But yeah, I don't even really have my working title is A Life Well Doomed, but I don't know. It sounds a little hokey. I might not stick with that. But we'll see. Hopefully I do more with it the next coming weeks, and my focus just isn't derailed by work just piling more shit on me. It's probably going to get worse throughout March, but whatever. I guess at least I still have a job. Whatever. It is what it is.
Logan, the game I actually mentioned was called Freeway.
Oh.
Which was a variation on Why Did the Chicken Cross the Road? To avoid getting run over by an 18-wheeler, apparently.
Smart.
But yeah, so that's what we all have going on. So wish us luck in these endeavors.
Yep. And whenever Nothing Man comes out, buy his book. Buy his book. Probably won't be for a while yet, but still. I will keep that in mind.
Shut up and take my money.
That too. Yes.
Yeah. Admittedly, single player, it does kind of get a little boring. Let's switch to a higher difficulty level. But that's neither here nor there. Suffice to say, though, I do have other books that are currently for sale that you can buy. So, Mike?
Okay, so buy those books. Buy those books.
Shut up and take my money again. Oh.
Yes.
Just give me your money for my books. Help support a struggling author like me and Eugene.
Exactly.
Well, Eugene's definitely got a lot more visibility than I do. I don't know how many of you know that he just wrote a Choose Your Own Adventure junior novel that was published.
Oh, hey, nice.
Kaiju Gaga. And nice. I was there for the live stream he did when he was doing one of the read-throughs of one of the possible endings. It was fun. I
missed it. I was at work, but yeah, definitely check it out.
I plan to pick up copies for my grandkids. So, it just seems like a fun little book.
Mm-hmm.
But support us authors. Yeah, that's what I've been wanting to say anyway. Yeah, support us because we write because we care or something. I don't know.
Just support.
Yes.
No, support the writing, support the books. Books is not an easy medium these days since a lot of things are digital, but buy them. They're good.
And if you want to post the link to the book, Eugene, go ahead.
Dot.
Oh.
Awkward silence.
Dead air.
Dead air.
Yeah, exactly. Mind taking.
I was waiting to see if you were going to catch on to that, Mike.
Yeah. Homestar reference and or Simpsons reference. If I don't make one of those, then I'm not me.
Yep.
There you go.
Yes.
Writers cares, bots do not. So support the writers.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
No AI was used in the creation of Nothing Man or Better Man.
Damn Skippy. And if you suspect that a friend might have been taken by the Snatchers, call the Junker Network, and they'll dispatch someone who hopefully won't get their head ripped off.
And there's the link for Eugene's book.
So shut up, take your money to him. There you go.
Shut up and take your money to him? All right, everyone load up the armored car. We're driving a truckload of this stuff to Eugene. So, all right, folks, we've basically run over the clock and then some. So we are going to call it a night. It's a night. There, I called it.
It's a night.
All right, so next time we stream, which, like I said, at this point is who knows when that's going to be. We'll see you then. So,
It was great to be on.
Oh, love Downland. Yeah. Yes, good call, Eugene. If you're reading on Hardcore Gaming 101, it's probably the article I wrote.
Nice.
So,
yep. Thank you all for stopping in. It was great
Absolutely.
to see you. Y'all have a good night yourself now.
yep. So, everybody have a fun.
Enjoy.
Cheers, everyone.